Stand up, New York Giant fans. What's going on, everybody? Thank you to everybody for tuning into the stream. Wanted to give a quick thank you to Independent Outsider with the $2 donation. He says, what beyond testing do you see? Helmet visors. Well, yeah, Independent. They actually came out with these funky-looking helmets that I don't think they're going to actually wear them. They had like these Star Wars-looking helmets with the mask over it. It kind of looked like a biker helmet. I don't know if they'll do something that extreme, but I do think that they might have a modified helmet. Let me turn down my volume so you guys don't hear hear it twice. But yeah, I definitely think they'll come out with something to be safer for sure. I don't know if it'll be that extreme. And Mike Nixon, man, thanks so much for letting me in. I appreciate it. He says, name your top 5 offensive and top 5 defensive players since you've been watching the Giants. Okay, my top 5 favorite or the top 5 best? My top 5 favorite offensive players, I'm going to go Eli Manning. I'm going to go, I love Amani Toomer. I named my dog Tiki Barber. I hate what Tiki did to Eli, but I was a huge Tiki fan when I was a kid. Saquon Barkley. And I will go Victor Cruz. Defense, Michael Strahan, Jesse Armstead, Antonio Pierce, Justin Tuck. And I will go Jason Pierre-Paul or OCU Mignor. It's close. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in the stream. I appreciate it. What's going on, Perry Mack? I'm going to pull in my guest. I got 5 guys waiting. So actually 6 guys. We got a 6th guy in here, too, waiting. And I'm definitely going to pull them in one at a time. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing this show once a week. What's going on, James? What's going on, Jawad? Thank you for tuning in the stream. L.A. Lou in the chat. Nikki, Jila, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Taco Nacho, Jesse, Brian. But I hope everybody had a happy Father's Day. Thank you guys for tuning in the stream. Looking forward to this. Really love doing this, getting to talk to these guys. Got to talk to them before. Seemed like a great group of guys. What's up, Blue Collar? Thanks for popping in. Dire Giants fan, John Williams. Louis Stack, he was on the show last week, man. Thanks for popping in. Sam, thank you for being here. And we're going to talk some Giants football. So thank you guys for being here. First guy we're going to pop on. Who should we go with? We'll go with Harrison. Harrison, how you doing, my man? Harrison has been very active on my channel. He's all the way from New Zealand. He's always commenting on my video, not just my videos. I said it before he came on. He comments on every New York Giant YouTuber's videos. He's in my Discord, great supporter of my channel. And when he said he wanted to come on, I could not wait to get him on. How you doing, Harrison?
I'm excellent, man. Thank you very, very much for having me. This is incredible. I never would have thought this would happen. What's up, sports expert? Sorry, I just see him in the chat. But yeah, man, thank you very much for having me. Just thought I'd quickly say destroy into MYG, make it happen.
There you go.
But yeah, man, it's incredible to be here.
Yeah, man, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. The first thing I have to ask you, obviously being that you're from New Zealand, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat are going to want to know, that's not really typically the sport in New Zealand. That's not your how did you fall in love with the game of football? How did you become a New York Giants fan?
Well, when I was about 3, my uncle, who just loved sports, he had a Giants helmet, and he'd always show me little videos on DVD of the Giants. And I was just like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Didn't really think much about it because, I was 3. But then when I got to when I was about 11 or 12, which is year 7 or 8 in high school, some guys were throwing a football around, and I joined in, and I was playing. And I was just like, why are we throwing the ball forwards? It's backwards. And then,
obviously because of rugby.
Yes. Yeah. For those who don't know, we know football, basketball, that stuff. It's just strictly pretty much rugby, cricket. That's all we have here. Essentially, that's big time. But yeah, essentially by luck, I was just at home watching ESPN, and I saw the Giants playing Super Bowl 42. I saw Tom Brady and the undefeated Patriots, and I did not like Tom Brady. He just seemed so I didn't like him. And then I watched Eli Manning, the helmet catch where he escaped the sack, and the guy just said it was the greatest play in Super Bowl history. And I was just like, oh, wow. And so then watched some YouTube videos, and then pretty much just got into it die hard, and then a few years later found Giants YouTube. So that's where I found your channel, and everyone else is like The Hub, Rover, Kid Blue, Coppers, all those guys.
I appreciate it, man. You, like I said at the top, man, you've been a great supporter of my channel. And I want to talk
Thank
a
you,
little
man.
bit of Giants football with you. We'll have each guy on for about 10 minutes, then we'll bring you on as a group like I did last week. But kind of wanted to talk about the offseason so far. What you've thought about, what the New York Giants have done in the draft and free agency. And I guess just the general direction of this team. The future of this team, Daniel Jones, whatever it may be. What do you think about the Giants, where they're headed right now?
Yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to say LA loses, All Blacks are one of the best in the world. Yeah, you're right. And then also what's up to the hub. But yeah, this offseason, going in, I was like you, I always wanted an offensive lineman. Simmons was really tempting, but as soon as we fell out of the Chase Young race in week 16, I was like, okay, well, it's either offensive line or Simmons. Leading up to the draft, a guy I was very much high on was Andrew Thomas and Jedrick Wills. And then for whatever reason, Andrew Thomas just fell off. No one, well, not fall off, but no one was talking about him because of everyone else's amazing combine. And then when we took him, I was so surprised. I was like, shoot. And I was super happy because I knew he didn't give up a sack in like
2 years, I think. No,
yeah.
it was a long time. He didn't give up a pressure or a hit or a sack all of last year. I know that.
Yeah, I think it was like 929 snaps or something like that. And I was like, okay, that was awesome. Then somehow I thought McKinney was obviously everyone had him as like a top 20 prospect, and I thought he was going to Dallas. But then when they got CD, I was like, if we can somehow get McKinney in the second round, we got him. And I was just like, okay, well, I don't really care who else we get in this draft class. That was awesome. But I gave the draft a good A-, B+ sort of thing. So I was really happy with the offensive line addressing in that draft. And then obviously with free agency, we brought in Bradbury, which was my favorite signing because, he's always facing, the likes of Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and he would always shut them down. So I was really happy with that signing. Martinez, I know not many people love that one because, he doesn't have much more than tackling, and that's about it. But I guess it's fine to have one of the best tacklers in the NFL on our team. We'll take it. And then we got Toilolo for blocking. Then we brought in some other guys like Nate Ebner. And yeah, I kind of wanted Clowney towards the end, but then we just had not much money to spend. So I was like, oh well, we don't need a contending player at the moment. We're not in that position.
Yeah. No, I think we're gonna end up with Marcus Golden from the sound. I could be wrong, but I mean it's only now a month to go until the deadline, and then he's gonna be a New York Giant. We'll get him for like $4 million if that's the case. And I wasn't a huge fan of bringing Golden back for the simple reason that I thought he was going to cost $9-10 million a year, 3 years. Didn't think he fit the scheme. But if you could bring him back for $4 million, that's kind of where, what we would be getting with Clowney. Obviously, Clowney's a better player, but he would be that extra edge rusher, which I think we both agree is the New York Giants' biggest weakness on defense, at least probably on the whole team. But yeah, man, I just want to get you on, give you a quick introduction. Tell me how you fell in love with the team. We're definitely going to get you back in a second when we get to talk to the chat, answer some questions. But Harrison, man, great job. Looking forward to having you back on. I absolutely love your accent.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I like your guys' accents. I always try and impersonate a lot of them. But yeah, thank you, Mel.
Yeah, man. No, thank you so much, man, for being a great sub. I'll have you back in a second. Let me. All right, hold on one second. They might have a question for you. L.A. Lou, man, thank you so much for love. He says, are there any other U.S. Okay, they do have a question for you. Are there any other U.S. sports that you follow?
Yeah, I am just as big, if not more. It kind of depends what I'm feeling at the time. NBA fan. I love the Thunder. Obviously, we've had Steven Adams from New Zealand. He's doing the QB in the NBA at the moment. But it was mainly because of Westbrook and Durant. Then Durant snaked us and burned, paper shredded, and did the rest to all my other Kevin Durant jerseys. So I was a massive Westbrook fan. Then we lost Westbrook. So now it's just
now you're stuck with the team you fell in love with.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. We had a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs, and now we're the 5th seed. So, I mean, I'm not.
Steven Adams kind of looks like he looks actually just like Aquaman.
Aquaman, Jason Momoa. Yeah, I went to his camp, and yeah, I went to his camp in real life, and it was like he didn't look like a human. He just looked like a massive robot. And layup lines, he blocked me so hard I fell on my back. It was bad. And he's like, get that out of you. He was terrifying.
And
But he's so cool.
we got one more for you. Benjamin with the $2 donation. He says, Harrison Jolly is Daniel Jones's doppelganger. He says you just look like that. You do look a little bit. I'd have to see you without the hat. Can you take the hat off for a second? Can I see you without the hat?
I have horrendous hat here, but I'll do it.
All right. We're gonna get to see Daniel Jones with awful hair. Hold on.
Oh God. No, that goes back on.
It's that hair, guys. That's what Daniel Jones looks like when he wears a hat.
Yeah.
But great job, Harrison, man. I'm gonna have you back on in a second, man. Thank you so much, man.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, brother.
You got it, buddy. All right. We're gonna pull on. We'll go with Antonis, all the way from the UK. Glad to have him on the channel. What's going on? We got our second foreign subscriber, our second foreign Giants channel. He reached out to me on Instagram, told me he's been with my channel since near the beginning. So I'm glad to have him on the stream. And I'm gonna ask you the same question that I asked Harrison. You're not from the US. Okay. NFL is not your main sport. How did you fall in love with the sport of football? And more importantly, how did you fall in love with the New York Giants?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's a big pleasure, man. It really does mean a lot.
Oh, he just hold on one second. You froze for a second. Now you're better. Now you're better. You're better now.
I'm good.
I'm
good. All right, nice. So the way that I started following the sport, I actually started playing. So when I got to university or college, I was just looking for new sports that I'd never played before. I'd done the rugby, I've done football, soccer even. And I was just looking for new sports, and I was walking past. It was like our fair where we had all the societies that were promoting their stuff. And it was the only things that I hadn't tried were cheerleading or American football. So I went for American football. And then when I started training with the team, everybody's like, you're playing the sport now. You've got to support someone. So I was asking a lot of the other guys who they supported. Nobody supported the New York Giants, surprisingly. Their loss, I guess. And then I went to New York. I fell in love with the city, and I became a New York diehard since then.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and who's your favorite player on the Giants?
Right now, I'd say Saquon, but that's because I'm a running back. I mean, there's a lot of players that I like. Darius Slay, I think, is an absolute weapon. He's such an underrated weapon. Daniel Jones, absolutely intelligent guy. He looks like a very humble human being, and I think that's one thing that I love the most about the athletes is how humble they are. And that's one thing that I really do respect. So Daniel Jones is definitely up there for sure.
Yeah, I'm a huge Daniel Jones guy. Let me just get to Mike's question, man. Thank you so much. He says, okay, you're talking about your favorite players. Thank you so much, Mike. He says, mine are Manning, Saquon Barkley, Hakeem Nicks, Victor Cruz, and Odell Beckham. Defense, Strahan, Tuck, JPP, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Jabril Peppers. I mean, those are some good players. I don't think Jabril Peppers would be in my top 5 yet, but I definitely like him. I think he could be a really good player for the Giants. Let's talk about the defense for a little bit.
Let's go.
What do you think about this new defensive scheme that the Giants are bringing in with Patrick Graham and multiple looks and all this different terminology, and they're going to be sending blitzers from all over the field, 3-4-4-3. What do you think about this scheme that the Giants are going to be bringing this year?
I mean, Patrick Graham's been a very big question mark for a lot of people. People like him, some people don't like him. He's not an easy coach to have in the sense of what he brings to the team. You definitely need to be an intelligent player to be able to keep up with his scheme. But I really think it's efficient. If it works well, I think it's efficient. You can see him. He shows that he's going to rush 9 and he rushes 3 and he still ends up getting a sack, or he's really good. He's really good in the coverages as well with the safeties. He's really good at utilizing safeties. And when you look at the type of players we have, the intelligence that they have, like Jabril Peppers, McKinney, you got Bradbury as well. That they're players of high intelligence. So if they can be utilized properly, I think they'll be absolutely amazing. And if Baker does come back, which I hope he does. Because I'm a person that believes that everybody deserves a second chance, and I think he's got a lot of talent. And with Joe Judge coming in and Patrick Graham coming in, they could really implement that into Baker and make a big change. So with the man coverage that Patrick Graham brings, I think he'll be a great scheme fit.
Yeah, to me, DeAndre Baker is one of the key players on this defense this year.
For sure.
If, like you said, he does get that second chance and he's ruled innocent, and I think he will be from everything we're hearing. We'll have to wait and see how long the case takes to play out. But Yeah, I'm with you. I think DeAndre Baker fits this defense perfectly, and I think he's one of the most important pieces. I kind of am trying to go in with more of a conservative approach, but I definitely see the talent on this defense. They're young. You didn't even bring up Darnay Holmes, who that guy to me is one of the guys who we're talking about intelligent. Yeah, that guy graduated UCLA, which is one of the better universities in America. In 2.5 years, he's a chess master. He's athletic as hell. He ran a 4.46. He's a guy I'm really excited about. I think the Giants got a steal with Holmes.
Yeah, he's one of I'd probably say a lot of people disagree with me here, but I think Darnay Holmes is probably my favorite draft pick in terms of value for money. In the long run, what we can get out of him is going to be absolutely amazing. There's a lot of question about his height, but I think his aura on the field, the confidence he has, and the intelligence he has as a football player really, really do, bring his standard up. So I think he's an amazing value pick, and I think he's going to do really, really well for the Giants for sure, 100%.
And let me ask you, since we're talking about the draft, let me ask you this: did you want Simmons or did you want the tackle on draft night?
Okay, so in my personal opinion, I would have enjoyed both. If we got Simmons, I wouldn't be mad. If we got a tackle, I wouldn't be mad. I was a big fan of Tristan Wirfs. I was a big fan of Andrew Thomas.
Oh, Andrew Thomas.
No, Andrew Thomas. Then he started dropping off for no reason. I don't know why. There was no speculation around. There was no reason for him to drop off, but he did. But I absolutely loved Simmons as well. I think he's an absolute weapon. He's so versatile, and I think he's someone that would fit perfectly in Patrick Graham's scheme. So at the end of the day, whoever we picked, it was a win-win situation. We're picking 4th overall. It's very hard to screw up a pick like that.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way. Obviously, I was a tackle guy, but I would have been completely fine with Simmons. The guy's going to be a very good player. He's very versatile. I just looked at it like we got the quarterback. Let's make sure we could keep him out of a casket. Make sure that you can block for the guy and block for Saquon. But I understood both mindsets, but I was very happy they took the tackle. Mark, man, thanks so much for loving me. He says, we needed intelligent players for Betcher's defense, and it didn't work. That's the problem I have. We didn't have the most intelligent players for Betcher's defense, but I'll say this. I was very excited about Betcher's defense. I'll be very completely transparent about that when he first came. The problem with Betcher, I don't even, not to say he wasn't a great play caller with the Giants, but he didn't have the players that fit his scheme. He never did. And it was kind of trying to fit square pegs into a round hole. You had all these established veterans that didn't fit his scheme. And the Giants tried to fix it on the fly, and it just never worked. What I like about this, the Giants are starting from scratch. They got rid of everybody. They only got 4 players from the Jerry Reese regime, and I think they brought in a guy. You look at the players on this team. They're all incredibly versatile. I mean, most of the defense could do multiple things.
For sure. And I mean, one of my favorite things about us restructuring as a team is actually the coaches. I think that's where most potential lies is on the coaches. Joe Judge is a risky move as a head coach. The fact that he has no experience as a head coach, but I think it's an amazing one. I think it was right place, right time, and I think and I love how every single coach has a connection. And when you got Patrick Graham, you got Sean Spencer, which is an absolute college veteran. When it comes to D-line, he'll have a massive impact. And I think the sky's the limit for us. We've got some really, really talented guys, really versatile guys. We've got the right coaching in place. And the thing that I've realized is that discipline and willingness and loyalty is going to be questioned for all these players. So I have a lot of confidence that if we are going to be losing players, it's going to be for our benefit. Doesn't matter how good they are. The players that'll be staying in the New York Giants in the near future are going to be the right ones for our team, because that's the way that the coaches are heading. They want players that'll be loyal, they'll be versatile, they'll do what they're asked, and they'll do it at the best they can. And that's all you can ask from coaches. So
that's all you can ask. Joe
that's
Judge,
my opinion, at least.
No, I'm with you. I think I love this coaching staff. I think they're going to get the most out of the players. You did a great job. I'm going to have you back on in about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to get to the next guy, but Antonis, man, thanks for popping on, man.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. Next up, I just want to see something real quick. Somebody said Steven. What did Steven say? Come on, the Hub's the man. The Hub is the man. What's going on, Nerding Out Sports, man? Thank you so much for popping in the stream.
What's up, Tina?
You just started your channel, right? You said you had a channel. Now you started it.
Yeah, way back in the trash talking circle in '08, I did, and then I stopped like right before we won the Super Bowl. So I think maybe that was a good luck charm, me quitting. But, I came back earlier this year because I was just really bored with the whole quarantine thing, and I love football, and we need something to talk about in sports. I was like, let me just throw my opinion out there or something.
Well, I appreciate you for coming on, and if you guys want to, go check out Nerding Out Sports. He's a newer Giants channel. But thank you for coming on, man. Looking forward to talking Giants football with you. So so obviously you were on YouTube in 2008. How long you been watching the team?
Since I was 6, in 1998. My first game I watched was when we got smashed by the Cowboys. I think it was like week 3. And yeah, I forgot. I think Danny Cannell was the quarterback. Is it?
Yeah, Danny Cannell.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And it made my grandpa curse for the first time I heard him curse. And that's why I started liking them, because he liked them. So I have my grandpa to thank for that.
Yeah, I started getting into the team around a little bit before you, but 93-ish. I was 8 years old. And yeah, so we kind of grew up in the same era. The 2000 team against the Ravens, Kerry Collins, Tiki Barber, all that. Who's your favorite Giant of all time?
Probably OC. I would have to say OC or Eli. Because I loved watching OC. Yeah, I loved watching OC play. And also Jeremy Shockey. Like, it's hard for me to pick just one, but I was such a fan of Shockey because he was always like beating people up when he played and getting into fights. And I don't know, I like attracted to him, I guess.
OC was the man back in the day. I obviously didn't get to see Lawrence Taylor. I've seen highlights, but in Giants I've seen play, there was never a better defensive end in terms of stripping the quarterback. He was great at creating fumbles, and the games that pop out, the game that really pops out to me is the game against the Eagles, where I think he had 6 sacks. I remember he had a strip sack fumble against Rodgers in the playoffs. But yeah, OC was a tremendous talent. As far as Eli goes, I never hide that. He's my favorite athlete of all time, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, don't matter. I absolutely love Eli Manning. Gave me two of my greatest memories of my life in terms of sports, with obviously the 2 game-winning drives in the Super Bowls.
Absolutely. He gets bashed so much, but when you watch him throughout his entire career, like I grew up with Eli Manning. I'm sure a lot of people can say the same thing. Like, as Giants fans, we're going to be biased, but he absolutely deserves to be a Hall of Famer. Anyone who says otherwise, I think they're just being ignorant about it.
Oh, I laugh. Whenever anybody says he's not a Hall of Famer, I absolutely laugh. It's hysterical. It shouldn't even be a debate. The guy's got 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. So, but what did you think about this year so far? What did you think about the offseason? What do you think about the direction of the team, Dave Gettleman, everything else?
I loved it. For the first time in a while, I'm excited because we just had terrible offseason after terrible offseason. And even like some of the drafts, like with Jerry Reese especially, like were terrible. But one thing Gettleman I think has done really well is draft, even though I don't necessarily agree with the Barkley pick as much as I like him. I would have tried to trade down that year, but I can't argue with the pick. He's been fantastic. But overall, and offseason wise, I love all the signings. Bradbury especially. And the draft was magnificent. Like every pick I think was a good one.
I can't really get on that. I completely get the understanding with the Barkley pick because we weren't a win now team. I get that running back short shelf life. But I'll say this. If Sam Darnold doesn't if none of those quarterbacks pan out, because I don't even throw Lamar Jackson into the equation because he was never on anybody's radar that early in the draft. It was Darnold, it was Rosen, or it was Josh Allen. And if Daniel Jones is better than those quarterbacks, Gettleman made the right decision. Whether you like the Barkley pick or not, the fact that he passed up on those quarterbacks when he was as pressured as he was and didn't take one and waited a year and got Daniel Jones. If Jones works out to be the better of the 4, you can't hate on the Barkley pick. That's my mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But, and we don't know, that to me, that's a what if scenario. Everybody says, well, they should have traded down, but okay. But who knows if there was a deal worth trading down for? You hear rumors, but they're rumors, you don't know. Obviously I heard about the Denver Broncos, but yeah, in an ideal world, if you could have traded down to 5, got a ton of assets and still got a guy like Nelson. But the other thing I'll say is if Hernandez works out, then it kind of doesn't matter because you got your playmaker and you got your guard anyway. So Hernandez is the guy I'm really, I think is a huge X factor for this team this year.
Oh yeah. I think with having him and Thomas on the left side for years to come is going to be great. And I think it's going to help having Mark Colombo. I think that was one of the more underrated moves that we did, because bringing him and Garrett, who obviously had a great offensive line and a great offense. So to get him as a coach, it's just going to work wonders for all, because we have a lot of young guys. Even though Zeitler and Solder are, veterans, we could very well have 3 guys who are only in their 3rd year or less starting on the offensive line this year if Lemieux starts at center.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I love about the direction of this team is the offensive line. I talked a bit about the defense with Antonis. I'll talk about the offense with you. What do you think about Daniel Jones in year 2? Do you have any worries with all the factors? You got the pandemic, if we do play this year. You got the pandemic. You've got a brand new system with Jason Garrett. Didn't have a normal offseason. Doesn't truly have a number 1 wide receiver threat. Do you have any worries with Jones going into year 2? Plays a tough schedule early on, too, with the defenses that they play.
I think if he can correct the fumble, that's like my biggest worry with him, as everyone will say, is his fumbling. But if he's able to cut down on that, I think he's just got to stay protected. And I think Thomas doing that, having Thomas there over Solder, who clearly is in a decline, protecting the blind side is going to do a lot, because he showed a lot of promise later in the year, like with his reads and stepping up. And he's got the ability to run as well. But if I had to maybe worry, a lot of tough teams to play, and if we can stay healthy, the receivers, again, we can't have Ingram going down 3 weeks into the season, Shepard. But one thing about Shepard actually is he plays 16 games, then he plays 10, and then he played 16, then he played 10. So maybe this year he'll play a full season.
If he does, he could be in for a big year. That's Bad Dog's pick to lead the team in receiving. I'm a big Slayton guy. I think Slayton's going to have a big year on Ingram if he could stay healthy.
Love him.
You want to talk about a guy who hasn't been able to stay healthy, it's Evan Ingram. But hopefully he can, and if he does, I think he's going to have a big year. You look at Garrett historically, they feature the tight end. Witten had 4 1,000-yard seasons under Garrett. So I'm looking forward to this offense this year. I actually think if they stay healthy, I think the Giants could have a top 10 offense in the league this year with the improved offensive line and a second-year quarterback with Jones.
Oh, I agree. I think I can't overlook Hayden Smith, because he was really good last year, and it seemed like him and Daniel Jones picked up pretty well together quickly. And he stepped into a tough position because both of our tight ends were hurt, and then Toyolo was a good blocker. I think that is going to help overall, just keeping Daniel Jones up. If they use Elijah Penny more as well, then we could see a lot of 2 running back sets with him, with Saquon and Dion Lewis as well. I think there's going to be a lot of options for him to get rid of the ball quickly to avoid getting sacked and potentially fumbling the ball. I think that's going to be the big key.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I am really excited about the versatility of this offense, how they're going to use Saquon Barkley, how they're going to use Evan Ingram. And I see somebody in the chat ask, is there going to be a season? We don't know, but we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope that there will be, because without football, I will probably go nuts. LA Lou, man, thanks so much for love, man. I appreciate it. He says, Mark Colombo, a good O-line coach, can make a big difference. He could even resurrect Nate Solder if that happens. The O-line will be a strength. Yeah, the only thing I worry about, LA Lou, on the offensive line, here's what I'll say. If I'm being, a skeptic, a devil's advocate, I'm worrying about Nate Solder moving over to the right side. He wasn't that good last year to begin with. Now you're asking him to play a position, to my knowledge, he's never played in the NFL. We don't really have a proven center. Who do we got? I mean, you got Spencer Pulley, you got Jan Alapio. Those are the only guys that have played it. Gates has never played center. And the same could be for Shane Lemieux. So I think that's certainly something that you could worry about. As far as Andrew Thomas goes, I'm all aboard on Andrew Thomas. I think he's going to be good day one, and I think Hernandez is going to be good this year. Zeitler is a given. He's one of the better guards in the league. So, but I worry about that right tackle spot. To me, I was talking about the X factor on defense was DeAndre Baker. I think Nate Solder might be the X factor on offense. I think that they need average tackle play out of that right tackle position, whether it's Solder, whether it's Cam Fleming, whether it's Nick Gates, whether it's Matt Parrott. They need average tackle play on the right side. And hopefully Mark Colombo, who did a fantastic job with the Dallas Cowboys as the offensive line coach, could do it, with Nate Solder or whoever they got on there on the right side.
Yeah, I think with Solder, he actually was pretty solid towards the end of 2018. He really improved, and then, he had a lot going on last year, injuries and off the field stuff. So I think learning a new position won't be too difficult because he's a veteran and he's already said he's up for the challenge. But he's not going to give up that job easily. But I love what Joe Judge said. Like, he's going to have the 5 best guys no matter what they're getting paid, how long they've been in the league. So it's going to make everybody work like 10 times harder to get that position on the offensive line. I love that.
Yeah, I cannot wait. And I see a couple of Liam. We're gonna get to the questions when we got a whole group, but I'll read this real quick. Thoughts on the secondary core, and how do you think they will play this season? All right, I'm gonna get my next guest on, and we're gonna start with that question. But Nerding Out Sports, thanks for coming on. We'll have you back on in about 15 minutes.
All right, thank you.
All right. And let's see what we got here. I thought I had. I don't see anybody there unless I'm missing them. I don't think Kevin has a Kevin, you there? I don't think he's got video, but I think he might have audio.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey.
And before we get started, actually no. First, I'm gonna have you talk about yourself. Kevin, where are you from? How'd you become a Giants fan? And what do you think about the team this year?
Okay, so I'm from Maryland. So I live between Baltimore and Washington D.C. So there's like a lot of Ravens fans and Redskins fans. I grew up hating like a lot of people who like the majority of people liked the Redskins, so I kind of hated them.
So you were one of those fans. You're like Rover Sports grew up in Philly, and he became a Giants fan because he hated all the Eagles fans around him. I can't blame him. I can't stand the Eagles fans. I do like some that are subscribed to my channel, though.
I mean, the Redskins fans are nice, but like kind of annoying too. So, and then one day I popped on the TV, and it was the Giants. They were beating the Redskins. It was like 2013, pretty sure, and we won that game. And I became a Giants fan that day, but I didn't follow the team that closely until like 2 years ago.
Well, I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you're a great subscriber. And we're going to start with Liam's question. Liam asked a question about the secondary. He says, thoughts on the secondary core, and how do you think they will play this season? So obviously, they got an emerging secondary. We could say that, very young. You got Peppers coming back. You draft McKinney. They signed Bradbury. And we'll see with what we got with DeAndre Baker. They got Darnay Holmes. You got Julian Love. What do you think about the secondary, Kevin, for this year and for the future?
I initially, when DeAndre Baker came out of college, I really liked him because I'm a huge UGA fan. So I also liked Andrew Thomas coming out, but I also liked DeAndre Baker, but he definitely disappointed last year. I definitely think he can improve. I think it was mainly better scheme. I really like the James Bradbury signing. Like, he didn't grade out well for PFF, but he also faced a lot of good competition, so it kind of makes sense. I think Julian Love is being hyped up too much as a slot corner. I think he lacks the quickness for it being a slot corner. I think Darnay Holmes has a potential to win the job outright this year.
Okay.
But in the second round, we drafted McKinney. I thought we should have taken a safety with our second pick. I was really happy we took McKinney, but I thought we should have taken a single high safety there, like Winfield, right?
Yeah. A lot of people were all over Winfield there before the draft started because he's more of a coverage guy. But what I will say is I think first off, I think McKinney was too good of a player there to pass up. And secondly, I think McKinney fits this defense very well.
Yeah, I think McKinney fits this defense really well too. Like, he has the connections to Nick Saban, and he's connected to Joe Judge, so it really makes sense. So.
Yeah, I think he was a great fit. As far as my thoughts on the secondary, again, I'm in a wait and see approach because they're incredibly young, but they definitely have a ton of talent. And I said this in one of my videos recently. You look at what they did in the draft and free agency with this secondary. They spent the second most money on any free agent cornerback. They drafted the first safety in this year's draft. They drafted, I think, the second slot corner. I believe Pride was drafted before him. And then the year before, they traded up and drafted the first corner. I
think Noah Igbenogany is going to start at slot corner for the Dolphins, but anyway, he's good.
Well, as far as the slot corner, I think for the Giants, I think it'll be Darnay Holmes, a guy. Well, it could be him or Love, but I think Love's more versatile. I think he can play the safety position.
I think he should be a safety.
Yeah, well, they'll have a lot of 3 safety sets.
Yeah.
Let me just get to the next question here. LA Lou, man, thanks so much. He says that's where Colombo comes in. Halapio could be better under Colombo, and I think Solder played right side early. Okay, LA Lou, maybe he did. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. And if he did, hopefully it works out. And I agree. I think Colombo is going to be one of the better coaches. I think that there's a ton of coaches on this staff who I like. I like Burton Burns, the running back. I really like all the coaches they brought in. What do you think about the coaching staff as a whole? What do you think about Joe Judge so far, Kevin?
I think Joe Judge, it was like a really good pick. I initially liked Matt Rule, but they're both really young, so they have a lot of potential. He might become like the next Sean McVay, but he's obviously a special teams coordinator, so he's not going to be like a play caller, but I think he still has a lot of potential. He definitely can like scout players well. He's going to be like he's going to emphasize discipline, which I really like. I haven't looked into like specific coaches, but I also really like Patrick Graham. I like his scheme. He's very versatile, so I like him.
Yeah. I like what they did in the coaching staff. And Ben, man, thanks so much for love. He says, Mets win a championship, will you shave your head? You got it. If the Mets win a championship this year, I will shave my head. You've got it. That's how confident I am that the Mets will not win a championship. And if they do win a championship, well, it'll be worth it because I've never seen them win a championship. And them and the Knicks, I'm convinced that I will die before they win a championship. And hopefully that's not the case. But thank you to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Kevin, I'm going to let you go. We'll bring you back on. We bring on the group panel.
Thank you for having me.
You got it, man. We're going to go to the next guest. And I don't know. I think the camera went out. Kyle, what's going on, Kyle, man? Thanks for popping in, man.
What's up, man?
Kyle, you there?
Thank you for having me.
What's up, man? You got it, man. Kyle's all the way from Jersey, man. Glad to see him on the channel. Yeah, let's start with that, man. Kyle, when did you start rooting for the Giants?
Oh, wow. In 2004, honestly, when they drafted Eli, that's when I started following really hard.
Okay, I mean that was a pretty good time to start following the team. So I take it probably Eli's probably one of your favorite Giants.
He's up there. He never really was my favorite. I always thought he was kind of average at best. Except for obviously the 2 Super Bowl runs were unbelievable. But yeah, he's up there though, top 5 probably.
Okay. And what do you think of Jones so far?
I love him. I actually saw him live his first game in Tampa. My dad surprised me with tickets. So we went. I go to college down here in Florida. So we went and it was awesome. We actually left prior to the missed field goal because we thought the game was over because Jenkins, I mean, he's terrible. So he let up that big catch to Mike Evans and we thought the game was over until we heard a bunch of boos and everything like that once he missed. And then we're like, holy crap, they won.
Yeah, that was the game of the year. That's probably the most exciting Giants game since they went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones's debut. That must have been a hell of an atmosphere. Seeing him, what do you have? 4 touchdowns that game. He ran 2 and threw 2.
Yep. Yeah, it was insane. There were more Giants fans there than Buccaneers fans.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the way Florida is in general. I'm a big Mets fan. Every time the Mets play the Marlins, there's more Met fans there. There's a lot of transplants in Florida from New York.
Yeah, there is. There's a ton.
So how's life? I think you're originally from Jersey. How's it in Florida? That's a big difference.
Yeah, I'm just here for college right now. I'm staying down here still because of COVID. I didn't want to go back up north for the virus. It was really bad up there. But now it's even getting worse up here. So down here. So I don't even know why I'm here right now. So I might head back up soon.
I was gonna say it was really bad here. Now you got the worst luck in the world. Now it's worse there than it is here.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So what do you think about the direction? All right, you know what I haven't talked about enough yet? Dave Gettleman. A lot of my he's definitely a very polarizing figure. I definitely have a lot of subscribers that can't stand the man, and I have a lot of subscribers that like him. Let me get your take on Dave Gettleman. Let me get your take on the job that he's done so far. And the direction of this team.
I'm a huge Dave Gettleman fan. I love him. I think he's done a great job with the draft. The first year free agency was kind of a crapshoot. He was terrible, but I mean, he didn't really know what he was doing. I felt he kind of just came in. I feel ownership kind of forced Eli on him. He really didn't want to keep him, so he's like, all right, whatever. We'll try to build around him. So he got Saquon. He got Nate Solder. I wanted Saquon, but right now with his contract coming up, I really don't want him anymore. $18 million for a running back, that's a lot of money, and especially when you have to pay Jones in 3 years, probably 2 years. He's probably going to want, honestly, $50 million. I don't even know by that time how much their quarterback's going to cost. So I think he's done a great job, though, building the team now up from 2019, now 2020 draft. That was a great draft as well. I think he kind of went backwards, and now he's finally going forward from 19 and 20.
So you are of the mindset, and I love that you love Gettleman, by the way. We're already best friends. But you are of the mindset that you don't think that it is in the team's best interest to keep Saquon Barkley here long term.
No, I think that if you build the offensive line good enough, you can put whoever you want back there. Like the Colts. I mean, they have Marlon Mack. I mean, who's that? And he was running like, unbelievable. I had him in fantasy football. The guy's getting 25 points from me a game. So, I mean, I just feel that the offensive line is the most important thing. I think actually a tight end's a quarterback's best friend. I think you have a really good tight end. The quarterback's going to excel, and the offense is going to excel. I like Evan Ingram. I hope he can stay healthy, and I think he can be that guy that, Jones' best friend.
Interesting. Yeah, to me, Saquon Barkley's too special. And when the Giants took him second overall, I think they made the commitment to keep him here through his second contract. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, though. But at the end of the day, you look at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys had as good of an offensive line as they could have. They still made the commitment to taking Ezekiel Elliott, number 4 overall, and they've kept him. I think the Giants are just going to emphasize the run a lot, not just this year, but in the future with Saquon Barkley. And I think they're going to build their offense around him. And obviously, I think that'll help Daniel Jones. Whenever you have a running back like Saquon Barkley, it should only help Daniel Jones. And I get what you're saying, though, because Saquon Barkley is going to eat up. If he makes $18 million, figure 9% of the cap, which is a lot for a running back when you still got to pay your quarterback. You still got to pay all these other pieces. But I just think he's one of those players that, even though he may not be of the most important position, I agree with you there, where a tackle, edge rusher, even a lockdown corner is more important traditionally than a running back. I just think he's one of those players where you splurge. I just think he's one of those players.
Yeah, you can't get rid of him. I mean, you committed to him. You picked him second overall. He was the right pick. There was no one better than him. You had to pick him. People say he should have traded back, but they don't understand you have to have, 2 people to do that. And the value has to be the same as well. You can't just trade back with anybody for like a 5th-round pick and give your second overall away. So it was the right pick. I love Saquon. He's the best player on our team by far. But the $18 million is really, I think, in the end, is going to haunt them.
I could understand it. I always like the debate. I always like to, it's definitely a popular topic of discussion. Having to pay a running back $18 million, but I think in the end they're going to pay him. Obviously, this year is going to have a lot to do with it. Barkley's got to prove he's healthy, but I think he will get paid. And Asia, thank you so much. I appreciate it. She says, stand up, my sexy Dana. I just came from a Philly YouTuber stream and had them sing happy birthday to me. By the way, did you hear Dallas Goedert got sucker punched? Yes, I did. I saw the video.
Yeah.
Did you see the video to that?
That was insane. Yeah, that was crazy.
That guy should be thrown in jail.
Yeah, you can't just sucker punch someone like that. I mean, what did he even do? Like, I don't even know what happened. He just punched him.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Obviously you don't hear the audio. You don't know what was going on, but you just see a guy come out of left field and just punch the guy in the face. Yeah, he's an Eagle, so I wasn't that upset. But but it was definitely the guy should be thrown in jail. And Benjamin, man, thanks for the love, man. He says, I don't know if DJ will be Eli's level, but I think he'll be pretty damn good. He'll win a Super Bowl with the Giants and 2 with the Rams. Book it. We're not letting him leave, Benjamin.
No way.
We're not letting him leave. But yeah, I mean, if he's half as good as Eli in terms of the Super Bowl department, I'll take it. Most quarterbacks don't win a Super Bowl, so hopefully he gets us one, and hopefully the Giants keep building this offensive line. I think that'll get us to the promised land. I'm going to bring everybody else back on, and we're going to start talking to the chat now. We're going to answer some of your guys' questions, and we're going to kind of just feed off of it. So, Kyle, I'm going to stick with you. Going to bring everybody else back on. There's Nerding on Sports, Antonis, Harrison, and we will bring Kevin back on. All right, so we got everybody from the panel back on. We're going to talk some Giants football. Like I said, we're going to feed off the chat. Any questions you guys may have, we appreciate it. And Fred says Dave Gettleman is – I love talking Dave Gettleman. I could talk Dave Gettleman for days. So Fred says Dave Gettleman is doing a hell of a job. I want to get everybody – because I already know this is one of the topics where you're going to get split opinions. Definitely one of those topics. So I already got Kyle's opinion. I want to go to Nerding Out Sports. What do you think of our general manager, Dave Gettleman, the job he's done so far, and, I guess the makeup of this team going forward?
I think he's doing a great job building it to what Joe Judge wants. I think Joe Judge has a big part in who we add now. And I can't argue with any of his drafts, even though I said I would try to have traded down when we took Saquon. But I know you have to have 2 teams to trade down. But I can't argue with a lot of his picks have worked out, even with the Odell trade. Like Lawrence is great. Zimenez, I think, has potential to be our best pass rusher this year. So I think overall, he's done a hell of a job. Just everyone he signed, some of his signings when he first got here didn't make a lot of sense, like Jonathan Stewart. But overall, I can't complain with him.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you criticize his trade for signing Stewart, his trade for Ogletree. He definitely made some questionable decisions when he first got here, but I agree with you. I think he's been doing a good job. What about you, Antonis? What do you think?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I have a bit of a mixed opinion on Dave Gettleman. I feel like I didn't really like him when I first started watching the New York Giants. He was a bit. I felt like I didn't really understand and I couldn't really justify a lot of the picks that he was making in the draft. But I feel like now that we go down the line, I feel like it's more. I can understand it more. For example, Daniel Jones.
Right.
I'm one of those guys that unfortunately hated that pick, didn't understand it. Sexy Dexy. I feel like we could have done a lot more with a 17th overall pick. But now that you get it and you see what type of people they are and what type of impact players they are, I understand it. So I feel like I might not understand everything he does at the moment, but that's the thing with a lot of the fans. We don't know a lot of the inside information that they have. So I say that I like him.
Yeah,
I like him.
Well, the thing that I always say about him, nobody's ever going to be bat 1,000 as a GM. And I'm with you on draft night. I was not happy. Everybody knows how I reacted to Daniel Jones, and I even wanted Montez Sweat at 17 on draft night because I thought we needed an edge rusher. But I like Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is one of my favorite players on the team. But you're not always going to love every pick he makes. The DeAndre Baker pick definitely looks questionable right now. But overall, he's drafted well, and that's what they brought him here to do. And Harrison Jolly, with the $2 donation, he says, "Wow, this Harrison dude is so cool." Yeah,
I appreciate that, man.
I agree with you, Harrison. But Harrison, I'm going to
keep your hat on.
Oh no, okay, all right. Well,
I'm going to ask you. Give me your thoughts on Gettleman.
Okay, real quick. This is what my normal hair looks like. Okay, let's not cap. All right, this is it. I just have had terrible head hair my whole life. But Gettleman, I honestly, in terms of drafting, I think he's a good GM. You look at it, you can name a lot of picks. 2018 draft, Barkley, Hernandez, Carter, BJ Hill, all been good players. You look at the next draft, Daniel Jones has turned out a lot better than everyone thought he would so far. Dexter Lawrence has been solid. DeAndre,
is the right word for him.
Yeah. But then you look at Slayton, and then this year I love the Thomas pick, love the McKinney pick. Holmes was great value. So in terms of that, I think he's a great GM, and that's why I want to keep him, and I think we need to for the next 3 to 4 years minimum, along with Judge. But then in terms of free agency and trading, I was definitely of the opinion that I hated the Odell trade when it happened. I was livid.
We're going to talk about that as a group discussion too.
Yeah.
I want to get your guys' takes on that, but go ahead.
Yeah, Landon, I wasn't a big fan of his coverage. Like George Kittle, that San Francisco game burned him. So I wasn't too mad about letting him go, but I think we could have at least got something out of him in terms of a trade or a tag trade. And in terms of other guys, he's brought in some decent. I like the James Bradbury signing, but besides that, you look at Antoine Bethea, Nate Solder, not so many great signings. So if he can get that bit right, then I think he can be the proper guy going forward.
Yeah. I know. In terms of his free agent signings, really hasn't hit on those. And we'll see how he does this year with the guys he brought in. But to be fair, didn't really have a ton of cap space.
For sure.
This year, where he finally had some cap space. So we'll see how these guys play out. Mike, man, thanks so much for love, man. He says, all right, we're gonna get to that next. We'll get the record predictions. I just want to get Kevin real quick, 30 seconds or so. What do you think about Gettleman, the job he's done for the New York Giants since he's been here?
I think he's been inconsistent, but when he's drafting, he's like a really good talent evaluator. Free agency, I think he relies on his coordinators to pick people, such as when Betcher was here, he picked like Antoine Bethea, Kareem Martin instead of Devon Kennard. I think when he has like the decision all on his own, I think he can make like a lot of really good picks, such as like Daniel Jones. There was a rumor that Pat Shermer wanted Drew Lock, but Dave Gettleman overrided his decision. So he's a really good talent evaluator. He makes a few questionable moves, but I like him. So I'm I'm not his biggest critic, but
right. So we all agree he's hit or miss, but we like. I think the biggest reason, the thing that he's doing the best is what we needed the most. We needed a guy that could bring in young talent, and that's what Dave Gettleman's known for. That's what he did with the Carolina Panthers, and we're a rebuilding team with a guy that I think is the right GM that's here to do that. He's a guy that's always been very good at drafting. So, Mike, man, thanks so much for love. He says, entertainer, this is for the guest. Record predictions. All right, real quick, we'll go around. Kyle, give me your prediction on if we play a season this year. I know we were talking before we went live that you don't know if they will, but if we play this year, what is the New York Giants record?
All right, so I'm not super confident in this team yet. The schedule is ridiculously hard. I mean, we can start there. It's insanely hard. So I think 4-12 to 5-11. That's my, and I'll be happy with that, honestly, with this schedule, as long as Jones progresses. That's all I care about. Is if he does well and if the defense does not look terrible. I mean, I couldn't even watch last year half the games because they're pissing me off so much. I mean, this guy didn't take out any corners when they were getting beat the whole entire game. You had Shermer just standing there like lost like a dog. I mean, I couldn't take it anymore. So yeah, 4-12, 5-11. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I've told people I'm a little more optimistic. I'm saying 6-10, 7-9. But I've told people the Giants could be 4-12 this year and be a much improved team because you look at last year. You were talking about the schedule. Look at the schedule last year. Who did we beat? We beat the Redskins twice. We beat the Dolphins, who should have won 0 games. They had no talent. And we beat the Bucs with the game you were at where they missed 3 field goals. So, the Giants played a cupcake schedule last year, and they still only won 4 games. Now, of course, they had a lot of injuries. But with this schedule, they could win 4 games and be a much better team than they were last year. That's what I'm Nerding Out Sports, go ahead. Let me get your record prediction.
I'm with you. I think 6-10, 7-9. It's a very tough schedule. I would be perfectly fine with 6 wins because it shows improvement. I just really want to see the young guys play better. The guys are going to be there for the future. Daniel Jones, especially Andrew Thomas, McKinney. I can go on for hours naming the players, but yeah, just improvement. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. And what about you, Antonis? What do you think?
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm more on the optimistic side. I think I'm more of a 7-9. I think we'll go 7-9 for the reason being that every gap that we've had, we've addressed. We've got new coaching staff that look very disciplined. They look very hungry. They're relighting the fire in the team. And I feel like there's a lot of games that, we got very unlucky. We lost in very small margins. We got very unlucky with injuries. And I feel like with a bit of luck on our side, we can easily go 7-9, in my opinion. We have the talent to do so, I think, at least.
Yeah, I mean, well, you bring up the injuries. I mean, you look at last year on the offense alone. I mean, everybody got, including Daniel Jones, got hurt. Not to mention Rosas probably cost us a game or 2 with his kicking, who probably won't be here.
Yeah. Thank God
he's gone.
Thank God for what happened, huh?
Yeah. So I agree with you. If we could stay relatively healthy, I don't think 7 wins is out of the question, even with the schedule that we do play. But we got to stay healthy, something that we haven't done in recent years. Harris, go ahead. What's your record prediction?
Real quick, Kevin, my man, I love the Batman icon. Christian Bale, best Batman for sure. Got my Batman right here.
There you go.
The Dark Knight's the best.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, no, in terms of record prediction, I would say anywhere from I'm really optimistic about the season, but I'm trying to be as realistic as possible here. I think it's anywhere from 5 to 7 wins. I don't think it will be 5 wins because I see some people in the chat saying, "Bro, you're not a Giants fan if you think it's 5 wins." But that's just being realistic. I mean, it's very realistic. With the new system, Jones might not develop. I mean, because apparently I'm Daniel Jones according to this chat. If he doesn't develop,
Daniel Jones with an accent.
But yeah, if with the new playbook, the new coaching staff, everyone starts off slow. And with the obviously, like everyone said, it's a really hard schedule. I think it's definitely very possible that we could get 5 wins, but I'm going to say 6 or 7 wins. Probably, I hope 7. But if we just get progression, then I'm happy. So we'll go 6 and 10.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that does not make anybody less of a fan if they think 4 or 5 wins. Like you said, that
sure.
just means that they're being realistic. You could love something and know that they're not ready yet. That's always been my mindset. Everybody's different, but my mindset is I think it's better sometimes to go into a season not with unrealistic expectations, because if you think they're going to win 10 or 11 games and they go out there and win 4, you're going to be pulling your hair out.
It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, I think you also got to be somewhat realistic with your expectations when you factor in all the factors. It's a brand new coaching staff on both sides of the ball. They still have a very young team. They're still learning and getting better, and we're in the middle of a rebuild. Kevin, go ahead. Let me get your prediction on the record.
I'm guessing like 5-11. I like the roster. I like the offseason. I also like how Joe Judge is gonna like he's gonna command discipline, which Coach Shermer didn't really do. He didn't have the players play hard, which I think Joe Judge will make them do. But I also know that they're playing in a new scheme, which might drag them down a bit, like year 1. But I need to see development throughout the year. That'll give me hope for 2021.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like everybody was right in that 5-7, except for Kyle. Kyle said more like 4, but 4 to 7 win range. And LA Lou, man, thanks so much for love, man. Chris, guys, this is a great idea. I'm looking forward to more, but for now, I'm out. Hopefully you're still here, LA Lou, man. I didn't get to that for a while. My work week starts tonight. Everybody have a good stream and looking forward to week 4. Later, LA Lou, man, have a great night, man. Thank you so much for being here. And let me get to the chat here. I'm sure we got something here. Chris, do you think we could get Jamal Adams No. I do not.
Way.
No.
Yeah, here's one guy I'm going to bring up to you guys because I'm going to make a video on him tomorrow. So many people have asked me to make a video on this. Josh Gordon, do you think it's possible that the Giants could look to bring him on? Because when I first heard about it, I was like, I don't think it would happen. But when you really think about it, he's got a connection to Joe Judge. The Giants need another wide receiver. He's tall. He could be a big play threat. Now, I'm not saying I expect it, but I don't think it's impossible. Do you think the Giants could bring on Josh Gordon? And how do you think he would fit this roster? We'll start with Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to lose? I mean, you're not going to pay him that much. You're going to put him on a 1-year deal. I would bring him in if he wants to come and if he's, willing to stay with whatever program he is to, not go back on what he was. I feel bad for the guy. You're growing up like that your whole life doing that stuff, and then, it's hard to get off of it. So, I hope I would give him another chance if I were the Giants. Nothing to lose. I think he'd fit in well. I don't think he'd start, but I think that he's a red zone threat, which is something that we need. And he's a big physical dude. I mean, he's strong. So, he'll moss anybody. He'll run through anybody. I like him. I'd bring him in.
Yeah, and Joe Judge was his wide receiver coach last year. Nerding Out Sports, go ahead, buddy.
I would give him a chance. If he gets reinstated, I don't see why not. There's so much uncertainty with all the receivers on the roster, so I would give him a chance.
Yeah. What about you, Antonis?
I mean, I like him. He's not a flashy wide receiver, but I think when you look at a tall presence like Gordon, he's definitely someone that will always be a bonus in your team. And considering the fact that Daniel Jones will have more time on the ball now with an improved defensive line, you can never go wrong with having a red zone wide receiver. So it would make a lot of sense to bring him in.
Yeah, and there's been numerous articles about it this entire offseason. People have talked about that the Giants lack so much depth at that wide receiving core, and I agree with them. We've got guys that are incredibly injury prone, whether it's Sterling Shepard, whether you include Evan Ingram in that. So I wouldn't be against it. Like Kyle said, what do you have to lose on a 1-year deal? If the guy smokes weed again and he acts up and he's drinking, you move on. You're not paying him anything. But Harrison, go ahead. What do you think?
For Josh Gordon, I mean, obviously, he was on the Patriots last year with Joe Judge, and he was the wide receivers coach. So, you can factor that in with the old attachment thing because we seem English words. We seem to be bringing in a lot of guys that have connections to our coaching staff. So I wouldn't be shocked if we did bring him in. We do need a jump ball receiver. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but, with the whole weed thing, and I'm just not sure it's a necessary thing to do because of the distraction. But, if we did it, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, I can kind of see both ways. I completely understand we've already had a lot of distractions this year with some of the players that are on our team. So I could completely understand the fans' perspective and the Giants' perspective if they didn't want to bring him in because they've already had to deal with DeAndre Baker, Aldrick Rosas, everything else. But I think it's at least something that they should explore. Kevin, what about you, buddy?
He might he fits the scheme well. Like we don't have like a physical wide receiver, and he's one of those guys. If we bring him in, he's also taking away like another roster spot to compete. Which like if you're a developing team, you might want to like save that for another player. But like if they bring them in, that'll be like good like development for like a guy like Darius Slayton to be like another jump ball receiver to like add another dimension to his game.
Yeah, I think we could all agree that of our three main receivers, there's really only one that's an exterior threat, and that's Slayton. And Gordon would be that second guy that could pose that threat on the outside. We don't really have one. I mean, right now, our second best outside threat is probably an undrafted free agent. One of the guys that we brought in. So I'd be at least willing to look into maybe, if not him, maybe somebody else. People have brought up Demaryius Thomas. People have brought up a number of other players, but I think the Giants should have at least explore the free agency market at the wide receiver position. MYG31, man, thanks so much for love. He says, Entertainer, can I come on the next? Absolutely, man. I want to have all my subscribers on, man. I want to give everybody a chance. Blue Collar, thank you so much for love, man. He says, Saquon will be the feature of this team moving forward. DJ will play like a top 10 quarterback, but not get paid like one. Antonis, what teams were your friends rooting for? Who will lead us in sacks next year? Okay, we got a lot of questions there. So the first thing he says is basically that Saquon is going to be the guy that makes this engine go. And he kind of like, I guess, the Rams with Marshall Faulk, and DJ will benefit greatly from that. And I don't think that's crazy. I think Saquon's the best weapon in the league, so I think he's definitely going to help DJ. All you got to do is look at Daniel Jones' stats last year with and without Saquon Barkley. And then he says, what team? Okay, so I guess he wants to know what Antonis, he wants to know what teams do your friends root for in the UK? And I'll let you also answer the other question. Who will lead the team in sacks this year?
Am I starting?
Yeah, he asked you. Yeah, he asked you.
Yeah, so I have a lot of Vikings fans, Baltimore fans, Seahawks, and 49ers as well are quite big. But the biggest teams in the UK have to be the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Giants. They're the ones that I run into the most, at least.
I find that interesting. And then I'm going to let you get to the sack thing. I was on Instagram. I don't know if it was you that sent it to me. Somebody sent it.
It was me.
It was you. Yeah. And I couldn't believe that. The Miami Dolphins are the most popular team in the UK.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, Miami Dolphins are a good franchise. You know, they have a lot of history to their name as well. So, I mean, one of my coaches is a Dolphins fan, and I just feel like I get so bored when they talk about that team. You know, I genuinely can't understand how because especially in the UK, American football is getting quite big, but it's only recently. So I don't understand how someone that's only been watching the sport for 2-3 years could find interest in the Miami Dolphins. But I don't know. I don't get it.
Maybe Tua adds to that a little bit, maybe. But as far as the sack leader, who do you think is going to lead the team in sacks this year?
I mean, I think Golden's always got a chance, and the reason that I'm saying that is because he's proven that he's come in, he's done double digits last season, but he is very scheme dependent now. I don't know if he's gonna fit the new schemes that we have, but I say I have a lot of hope in Carter and a lot of hope in Oshane Ximenez. They're very, very, very athletic players, and I think they're so versatile because of their athleticism. So, it's up for grabs. It's a position that it's probably one of our weakest positions in the team. So whoever's going to come and perform is the one that's gonna claim that spot. So I'd probably go with Ximenez. I really like him, but it's up for grabs, really.
Yeah, I think Fackrell's another guy. I think they're going to come from all over. I even think McKinney's going to get 3, 4, 5 sacks. I think they'll blitz him a lot off the edge.
Yeah.
I expect Martinez to be blitzed a lot up the middle as well. I think they're going to send blitzes from all over. So it's kind of, like you said, their team sack leader may have 6 or 7 sacks because it's going to come from all over. I don't know if they're going to have a 10 or 11 sack guy, but they still may be decent in terms of getting after the quarterback because it's scheme dependent.
Fackrell had double digits with Patrick Graham as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
In Green Bay. Yeah. So I mean, there's no reason that he can't do it again.
Yeah.
It's the same scheme, different team. So he knows how to utilize the most out of those players. He has a lot of chemistry with those players, and Patrick Graham's the type of person that's he's gonna look at the weapons that he has and find the best way to use them. So there's no reason why Fackrell can't be up there as well.
Yeah. I'm a big Fackrell guy. Mike Nixon, man, thank you so much for love. He says, well, he can't get suspended if he does it. Oh, he's talking about the smoking of the weed if he does it. Well, it's still illegal in New York, so I don't know how that would work. Benjamin,
I think the new CBA, didn't they say that you can do that now? I thought Josh Gordon was on some other stuff though. I didn't think it was just weed. I thought he was doing other stuff.
It was alcohol too. I know that, like serious alcohol, like a big problem. But I know the CBA said you can't get suspended, but technically, even though we could all debate all day whether it should be legal or not, technically in the state of New Jersey, it's illegal. So I don't know how that would work. Benjamin, thanks so much for the love. He says it's only weed. It's not robbery or DUI. Give him a chance. I like Josh. I think somebody's definitely going to give him a chance. The question is, will it be the New York Giants? The guy's had several chances, but somebody's definitely going to give him a chance. He's too talented. Now, one guy, I don't know if he'll get a chance. We'll see. Antonio Brown, because Antonio Brown to me belongs in a straitjacket. He's crazy.
Yes, for sure.
Like Josh Gordon just like smoking weed. Like that's probably like 75% of the people in this country. Like, as far as Brown goes, Brown to me belongs like, in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
But let's see what we got here. I just want to get the next question here. Are these all entertaining? Yes, they are. Hype, please. I'm going to always have new subscribers on every week. Chris, the first game in the UK was Giants versus is that why Giants versus Dolphins was the first game in the UK?
Yeah, that's true. Eli had a rushing touchdown.
2007.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know who I'm surprised isn't more popular in the UK? The Jaguars.
They
No. You do have a lot of Jaguar fans. And Raiders, man. A lot of people wear the Raiders merch a lot. I think that it's kind of like a brand now. But because I work in a bar, so every time I see someone wearing a Raiders cap or a T-shirt, I'm like, "Oh, you're a Raiders fan?" They're like, "Who?" I'm like, "Okay."
That's the exact same here.
So you're just wearing the merch. You don't know the team. Nice.
I will say it does look cool. The silver and black. I am a fan.
The Steelers. The Steelers is another one. They've got a huge viewing in the UK as well.
Here too. You go anywhere in the country in the US, you find a Steelers fan in the sport. They got a huge following. Let's see what we got here. How are the girls in England? I'm sure they're fine, just like anywhere else.
They're cold at the moment. That's about all I'm gonna say.
All right, yeah. Let's talk about him. That's a good guy to bring up. MYG31. He says, Carter Coughlin. What's your guys' thoughts of Carter Coughlin? To me, he was one of my in terms of the late picks. I'm a big fan of Coughlin. When you go back, you look at his PFF grade. I think he had a 92.5 at Minnesota his junior year, which was the third highest ever in the history of the Big Ten. Giants got him in the 7th round. That's a guy. Maybe he's the guy that gets 4 or 5 sacks for the Giants this year. What do you think of him, Kyle? Carter Coughlin.
I like him a lot. He's actually my favorite pick in the draft. So I'm pretty high on him. I think that he's gonna lead the team in sacks, honestly, this year if he gets enough playing time. Yeah, I think 6.5 sacks though. Like I don't think anybody's gonna get a bunch of sacks. I think a lot of people are gonna get 5, 5.5. I think he's gonna get 6.5 though. I like him a lot.
You got him leading the team in sacks. Now, do you think he's gonna have a guy with a huge role, or do you think he's gonna be a a pass rush specialist?
I think in the beginning, pass rush specialist. But then towards the middle, towards the end of the season, I think that he's gonna have a big role.
I like it. I like the optimism there with Carter Coughlin. Obviously, Gettleman's done a good job with the late round draft picks as of late. Nerding Out Sports, what about you? What do you think about Coughlin?
I like the pick. His name obviously is great, even though he's not related to Tom Coughlin. But I think at first he's probably going to be a special teamer. If he makes the roster, he should. But I can see maybe the earliest towards the end of the year, if we're out of it, they're going to give more guys opportunities in the pass rush department. But I think in the future, he's going to be a big piece because Fackrell's only on a 1-year deal. Same with if we get Golden back. So I think if not this year, next year for sure, he'll be a big piece.
Yeah, that I agree with. I do think that at a bare minimum, he will have at least a decent sized role in 2021 because I agree with you that I think they will move on more than likely from Fackrell after 1 year. And Probably the same could be said for Marcus Golden, which gives Carter Coughlin that opportunity. But I think he's going to see time on the field this year, though, in third and long, second and long situations. What about you, Antonis? What do you think of Coughlin?
I think he's probably one of our best value picks, to be honest, that I've seen in a while. I mean, a guy like Coughlin, so late on in the draft is unbelievable. I don't think he's going to see a lot of time on the field this year. I feel like there's a lot of guys that'll be on the field before him. A lot of guys that want to start and deserve to start. You brought Fackrell on a 1-year deal, so I don't understand why you wouldn't be starting him. You got the experience, especially with the coaches. So I think maybe next year, and he's young, he's talented, he's athletic. Maybe not so much this year, but I think his future's bright in New York for sure.
Love it. What about you, Harrison? What do you think of Coughlin?
I think it was a good value pick in the 7th round. I think it was 22.5 career sacks, and then 7 forced fumbles, I think. So, his production's there, and obviously, like was mentioned, the Pro Football Focus grade. So, I think he was a good pick, especially in the 7th round, because past the 6th round, we just started to bring in linebacker. So, yeah. I was pretty happy with the Carter Coughlin pick. I'm not obviously for any 7th round pick, I'm not expecting massive things, but if he can just get us a few sacks, just be a solid contributor, I'll be cool with it. I don't expect anything, but I think he was definitely a good value pick for sure.
Yeah, I think he could have an impact, but I like you. I'm not going to say he's going to ever be a 9, 10, 11 sack a season guy, but I definitely think he could have an impact. Kevin, what about you?
I like Carter Coughlin for like the 2021 season. I think he can win like one-on-ones. He's also like a scheme fit. We have like a lot of depth at the edge position, so he might like replace Fackrell and Golden after this year.
Yeah, and it's not just him. It was a lot of guys that we drafted that I think are going to be 2021 impact players. A guy like Matt Parrott, a guy like Shane Lemieux. I think those guys will more than likely be impact players in 2021. But one thing I wanted to talk about you guys was, I guess, the camp battles going in. And to me, the center position is the one that really sticks out. Who's going to start at that center spot? You also got, the battle there at the slot corner spot between Holmes and Love, as well as the undrafted free agent wide receivers, whether one of those guys could carve out a role for the Giants in training camp. But what do you guys think of the center position? Obviously, we know the candidates at this point. What do you guys think? Do you think Lemieux's got a shot to take that job? Do you think Gates could take the job? Who do you like there in that role there? We'll start with Kyle there.
I got Gates getting it. I think bringing P.O. back, it's kind of a joke. Not to knock him, but he's not that good anymore. I think Poley, I don't think he can start. I don't think he's that good. LeMahieu, or whatever, not LeMahieu, but whatever that guy's name is, I don't think that he's gonna have a chance to play this year. I don't think he's worthy enough. I think he needs the year to learn, and I think he's actually better as a guard. So I think they're gonna use him as a guard.
Okay, yeah, no, I a lot of fans are all over Lemieux. But I agree with you that Gates probably has a better chance. I've talked about Gates that I think he's more valuable on the bench because he could step in and play any position. He could play the tackle, he could play the guard, he could play the center. But I wouldn't be upset at all if he gets that spot. He's definitely earned it. He's played very well since he's been a Giant. Nerding Out Sports, what do you think?
I want to see Lemieux start, but I think it's going to end up being Pulley because I don't know if Jalapeno is going to stay healthy. That's one thing. If they're going to go with experience, it'll be Pulley, but I think Lemieux was probably one of the bigger steals of the draft. I think the transition might be a little bit easier than some people think to move to center, but obviously it's not going to be easy at all. But I would probably say Pulley, but I really want it to be Lemieux.
Yeah. What about you guys? What about Antonis? What do you think?
I think it would. I don't know if people are going to agree with me, but I think it would be almost a little bit foolish to start someone that hasn't taken any snaps before under center straight away. I think they'll try it out in the preseason, see how it goes with Lemieux and Nick Gates and whoever's looking the best at the time. But I don't think we'll go into the season starting one of those guys. I think it's going to be Pulley, in my opinion, to start off with, and maybe towards the end of the season, we'll start seeing a battle between Nick Gates and Shane Lemieux. In my opinion, I'd probably see. I'd like to see Lemieux there because he's a very, very aggressive lineman. And that'll be good to see, especially in the run blocking for a center. Nick Gates is very good. He's very intelligent. He's very versatile. So if you can say stick Shane Lemieux in center, and then you got Nick Gates on the bench, as you said, to almost take advantage of his versatility, I think it'll be a perfect situation for us.
Yeah, I love everything that you said there. One thing I was thinking about as we were talking about the center position, and I'll ask Harrison this question, and I will get to the movie talk, Harrison. I saw your super chat. Do you think, because the Giants did it last year, I can't remember if they added Remmers like right before I can't remember. But do you think it's possible that the center's not even on this team yet? Do you think there could be a veteran cut from another team, or do you think they could sign a veteran on a cheap deal, similar to what they did with Remmers at the right tackle, to come in here and compete at that position? Who it is, I don't know. But do you think that could be the approach? Because I don't know if I trust any of these guys going into the year to be the center.
Yeah, so first with the Senator, I think, the way Dave Gettleman talks about Nick Gates, I think he sees him as a very versatile player, at tackle or at center or wherever. I think Lemieux could win it down the line towards the back end of the season because I'm really high on him. Obviously, he played guard in college, but I think he could kick inside the center. But, in terms of bringing in a guy, I can't really. Obviously, it's really hard to predict, who's going to get cut. But I could see it happening because we did bring in a guy like, Remmers last year, like you mentioned. So I could see that happening. But I think going into the year, it will be either Poli or we might sign Halapio back. I think it'll be one of those two guys. But I'm hoping Lemieux or Nick Gates towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that. And I think Antonis brought up a great point that you want a guy, especially at that position starting the year, unless Poli absolutely sucks, which he does. You really do want a guy with some experience at that position, especially with a second-year quarterback in a brand new system. You want to make sure that the guys know what they're doing out there. So I think Antonis brought up a great point right there. But the question is Poli good enough to get it done? And I see Kevin went mute. I don't know if he just muted it before he wanted to talk. Now he's not. Kevin, what do you think about the center position?
I think Poli's gonna win it because, we might not have a preseason, so just want getting someone who has experience playing in a live game. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Poli seems to be the favorite by a lot of Giants fans. Wanted to get through a couple of donations. Tom Ty says, British guy, do you know what I don't know what that means. Is that like a porno term or something?
Wait, I'm not even reading. What's this?
Fakakta. Do you know what fakakta means? British guy. Antonis, do you know what the term fakakta means?
Hell no.
Sounds like it would be something. Sounds like it would be something you find on
fakakta.
Yeah. Nah, and Harrison Jolly just asked the question. You didn't have to do that. You could just ask me, but I appreciate the love.
Hey,
Harrison.
we like to show love.
He says, "What is everyone's favorite kind of movies?" Okay, so I'll start. You just mean genre, right? You're not talking about my favorite.
We can get into specific because I know you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, but that we can either whatever you're feeling.
So Lord of the Rings is my favorite, but in terms of a genre, that's tough, man. I'm kind of all over the map. I'm kind of eclectic. I got a weird taste in movies. I love comedies. I love dramas. I love action movies. I love comedies, but they haven't made many good comedies in the last 10 years. So in terms of newer movies, I'd probably lean on the Marvel side, I guess, even though I'm kind of sick of Marvel. But I do love most of the Marvel movies that come out. So I guess if I'm going with a genre, if that qualifies, I guess I would go with the Marvel, but definitely all different types of movies. Quentin Tarantino is my favorite director. I love every movie. I love every movie that guy's ever made. But what about you, Kyle? You a movie guy?
I am. I'm a big movie guy. Comedies. I love comedies. Those are my type of movies. Mark Wahlberg, Adam Sandler, Will Ferrell. Those are my guys. So,
what's your favorite Will Ferrell movie? Because I love them all.
Oh my God. I mean, Step Brothers, right? I mean,
Step Brothers.
Yeah.
Step Brothers, fantastic. I mean, Anchorman's great. Old School's great. What else we got? The Elf was really funny. He's done so many.
I love the movie.
Elf is
That's
great.
A good movie.
Yeah, that's definitely my top 3 Christmas movies. What about you, Nerding Out Sports? What's your favorite genre?
Like Kevin said, I love comedy, but I'm also a big sports movie fan. I think Remember the Titans is my all-time favorite movie. So
Yeah.
that is,
Yeah,
without a
let-
doubt, a
let-
great movie.
Let me. That's a fantastic movie. Let me go over my favorite sports movies real quick. I'll go by sport. Football. I'm actually gonna go Rudy, but I love Remember the Titans. I love Friday Night Lights. But I'll go Rudy. Baseball's tough because there's so many good ones. But I'll go Major League. I've watched that movie a million times. Basketball. I will go with White Men Can't Jump. And if you go golf, I'll go Happy Gilmore. And hockey, I guess I'll go with Miracle. What about you, Antonis? What's your favorite type of movie?
I agree with nerding out sports. I'm a big sports movie guy. I do appreciate a good comedy. I've been going into this weird thing recently. I think lockdown's playing up with me, but I'll just pick an actor and I'll just watch a load of his movies, like Jason Statham or Jason Momoa or Mark Wahlberg, and I'll just sit there and I'll watch like loads of their movies. I don't know why.
That's funny that you said that. I've been doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I've been doing this. I've been on an Adam Sandler kick. I don't know why. It's funny that
love
Kyle
him.
brought.
I love him.
I've watched like all these no-name movies that he's made recently that have come out in like the last 2 years. I had no idea that he made them. That's
What's
funny.
your favorite one?
of Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
Man, he's made so. I mean, I love Billy Madison. I love Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, yeah.
I love Big Daddy. I love
Big Daddy.
pretty much every movie the guy makes is a stare. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He's definitely made some really bad ones. But what was the one with Jack Nicholson? Anger Management was great.
That was
Oh
great.
yeah.
Yeah, he's made some. Click was even good, even though it wasn't a comedy. I like Adam Sandler. I'm a big Adam Sandler guy. And thank you so much for becoming a member, man. I really appreciate that. Who was that? That was Bill, man. Welcome to the channel, man. I really appreciate that. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that next super chat. But first, I want to hear Harrison's favorite movies, and then we'll get to Kevin. Harrison, what's your favorite genre?
Yeah. Overall, I mean, I love Star Wars. Star Wars is my thing. I'm not a. Don't worry. I know there's a lot of Rey haters. I know I like Rey, but I know Episode 8 is bad. In terms of, I love Batman. I'm super excited for the new one coming next year. But yeah, in terms of genre, just anything superhero-y. I love Marvel. I love Ninja Turtles. Love Transformers. All those things. I see someone mentioning Friends in the chat. That's my favorite TV series. Love that
Friends
show.
is great. Okay, all right. Let's get this. I'm a little older than you guys. Friends or Seinfeld? Kevin, we'll start with you. Friends. I don't know if you got to see
Not close.
Friends or Seinfeld, Kevin.
Never heard of them.
Okay, so we won't ask that question. We'll ask you, what's your favorite movie instead of Friends or Seinfeld? What's your favorite genre?
Action movies. That's
Okay. Can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with
I love Christopher Nolan. Like
Christopher
all
Nolan's
of his
fantastic.
all of his movies are the best.
Interstellar is underrated. He's made so many good, great
Inception.
movies.
Inception.
Inception is one of my all-time favorites.
Like it's hard to understand, but like when you rewatch it, like it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Antonis brought up Jason Statham. I have a huge man crush on Jason Statham. I absolutely that guy's the freaking
Bro,
man.
it's the English accent, man.
Yeah,
I
he's
also-
friggin'
I also
got into
love
a fight. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
I also love the original Matrix, like the first
Oh
one.
yeah, Matrix is
Like
fantastic.
the two sequels were not that good.
I actually liked the second one, but they had to make the third because they made the second, so I wish they never made it. But Antonis, I am completely with you on Jason Statham. I got into a huge fight with my friend, even though I was probably wrong because he's not the most suave guy. I wanted Jason Statham to be the new James Bond when he was coming out.
Yeah.
He had the
That's
British
fantastic.
accent. He was that badass, but he didn't have the hair. He's bald.
Idris Elba for me. I think he was the perfect fit for the new James Bond.
Alba, yeah.
Yeah.
Idris Elba, yeah. He's that's a good one too.
I think he was just amazing. I think he fits it. I think Jason Statham is more like Idris Elba would be more flashy. Jason Statham won't be as flashy, but I think that like in the core James Bond action scenes, Jason Statham kicks ass. You just,
For sure.
I'm sorry, he fits that James Bond like it was born for him type of thing. But I wouldn't have been mad with either or. But I'm very happy Daniel Craig stayed, to be honest, because
Daniel Craig's great.
yeah,
He's awesome.
I actually
he's
met him
from
in real
Liverpool
life.
as well, where I'm from. So
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
yeah,
He's actually really short. I met him in real life. He was like 5'6".
Daniel
he was-
Craig.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
see,
Yeah.
Sorry, you got Daniel Craig. We're in where I'm in New Zealand, Dunedin, it's like way down the bottom. He was in a restaurant right outside my school with and it was like everyone was just like taking photos, so we just got out and left.
And somebody says, "Who cares? Let's go." We're gonna get to football. Once in a while, you got to break it up. You got to go to the movies.
Diversity.
Yeah, diversity. Hot Nichols, man. Thank you so much for love. He says, "Happy Father's Day, fam." Yeah, happy Father's Day to everybody. If you're a father, if not, happy Father's Day to your fathers. And just want to get this. Benjamin says, "Coach Carter." Yeah, Coach Carter was good too. Yeah, Samuel Jackson's great. Yeah, absolutely love Samuel. And Mike. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Harry.
Oh, sorry. I've got the Bear Mother Effer wallet from the Pulp Fiction movie.
Really?
Samuel Jackson. Yeah. Well, not the actual one, but I've got one that's an exact replica of it. It's
Pulp Fiction is one of my 5 favorite movies ever
of all time. It's so good.
Yeah, I love that movie. And Mike Nixon says, "Little Nicky, my favorite Popeyes chicken, freaking awesome." I'm not a huge Little Nicky guy, and it seems like a lot of people have been talking about this movie lately. But actually, one of my very good friend's sister was in Little Nicky. She was one of the Girl Scouts. I don't know if you remember the scene where the Girl Scouts were chasing him or something like that. She was one of the Girl Scouts in Little Nicky. So there's a fun fact about me.
I'm surprised nobody's brought up The Last Dance.
Last Dance was amazing.
It was unbelievable.
Oh, that was
unbelievable.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right, let's get that out of the way. You guys hoops fans at all? I know Harrison said he was. So everybody else hoops fans?
Yep.
All right, let's get that out of the way. The big debate, it seems, with everybody on YouTube. Who's the greatest basketball player ever? I don't think it should be a debate, but Kyle, who's the greatest basketball player ever played?
It's no debate. It's Jordan. I mean, I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. That's any right here. It's Jordan. That's it.
It's Jordan. And I like LeBron, okay? I think LeBron is overhated by some people, but he's not Jordan. Jordan ain't losing to the Dallas Mavericks.
He's not even my second.
Who's your second?
Kobe.
I'm not going. That we could debate all day. That we could debate all day. I go LeBron
he's a
over
winner.
Kobe. Kobe's definitely got that Jordan essence to him in terms of wanting to take a shot at the end of the game. But Nerd Out Sports, who's your Jordan number 1 or what?
Yeah, but I can definitely see the argument for LeBron. I'm not totally against saying LeBron. I'm lucky that I got to watch Jordan's tail end of his career and all of LeBron's career, and it's difficult. Like, it's 2 different eras, so I can't really say LeBron wouldn't do what Jordan did back then. But I got to go with MJ. I think 6 for 6 in the finals, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, and he would have won 8 for 8 had he not. I know that he came back and he lost that one time, but he only played 15 regular season games. He would have won 8 for 8 if he wanted to. So I'm with you on that. What about? I'm assuming everybody else agrees, but does anybody have a conflicting opinion? If it's not,
Should I just say LeBron just to annoy everyone?
Kevin, were you about to say somebody other than Jordan?
No. I've seen like Jordan highlights. He looks like he's just different.
Yeah. Anybody want to speak up on that, or is it Jordan?
It is Russell Westbrook, the most overhated player in the NBA. No, I'm playing. Michael's the best of all time. I go LeBron 2, and then I saw Kobe live. I went to an NBA game in LA. It's the only time I've been to America, and it was actually the 2014-15 opener where him and Dwight Howard got in a fight. It was. I just saw Kobe, and he's just a dog, man. He's got that Mamba mentality. When he died, bro, I'm not even gonna lie. I cried like 3 times that day. It was so hard, man.
Yeah, that was horrible. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say those are for me. I know, obviously, you've got other guys, but those are my top 3. I love those guys. But Michael, number 1 for sure.
Let's see what we got here. Now we got a lot of basketball talk in the chat. LeBron, MJ, LeBron, MJ, LeBron. I
want to hear the Westbrook haters. Come on now.
No disrespect to Kobe, but he ain't. I actually agree with that, and I know a lot of people do not. I agree that Kobe is not in the top 5, but I know a lot of people do not agree with that.
We gotta hear it. Who's your top 5 now? You gotta say.
Well, LeBron is 2. LeBron is 2 for me. I have LeBron 2. I don't know. I got Abdul-Jabbar in my top 5. I'm not sure if he's 3. I got Abdul-Jabbar in my top 5. I know people don't like to say Bill Russell because he played an era with only 8 teams, but Bill Russell's got 11 rings?
He's in my top 5.
That's my guy. That's my team.
You have 11 rings, fam. You can't help me.
And I personally have Magic above Kobe. And I think Bird is debatable as well, but I think I'd have Magic in my top 5 as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Kobe's great. but
Yeah.
he's not my top 5. Don't forget the big man. Yeah, Hazelnut. I mean, the big man you've got. I didn't even mention Will Chamberlain, who you could definitely put in the top 5.
Right.
Shaq, not top 5, but borderline top 10. Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward who ever lived. That to me is always a good debate. Everybody says Kobe because he's the more flashy player, but Tim Duncan was underrated. I always thought Duncan and Kobe were pretty close.
Please don't anyone say Steph Curry, please. No, I can't.
PTA Sports, thanks for love, man. He says, what does Union High School, Bigger Mike, and Noah have in common? They all suck. Eat it, nerds. Him and Bigger Mike, they got something going on. PTA Sports. And
PTA. Can I say what's up to PTA real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's up, PTA? Everyone go sub to PTA Sports. His channel, he is hilarious. His live streams are super entertaining. Go sub to PTA Sports, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got a football question. So let's get back to football. Supermo asks, who's your top 5? He says NFL players. Let's go quarterbacks. Who is your top 5 quarterback of all time? And we'll start with
time.
Yeah, we'll start with Kyle.
List top 5 or just like number 1?
You don't have to put them in order. Just name the 5 greatest quarterbacks who ever lived.
Wow. Well, I mean, Brady's number 1. It's not even close. I have Marino. I'm not putting in order. I got Marino up there. I got Montana up there. I got Elway. I got Peyton. What is that 4?
That's your 5. That's your 5. Yeah.
That's 5.
You had Peyton, Brady, Elway. You said Marino, and you said somebody else.
Montana.
You said Peyton.
Montana.
Oh, Montana. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody have any different guys in that top 5?
Eli.
Drew Brees.
You'd have Drew Brees. What about Aaron Rodgers? No love for Rodgers. He's not in the top 5.
I go Vic,
No.
but that's based off
You
entertainment.
go Vic, really?
No. Listen, I wouldn't say he's up there with the top 5 QBs. I'd go because he's such an entertaining presence to watch on the field. So it was, if you're watching Vic, you're gonna have, it's gonna be a good game. You're gonna watch a good game. That's why I loved him. I don't think he's up there in terms of talent, but I always love watching Vic.
Yeah, well, Vic was definitely ahead of his time, and he definitely, I agree with that in terms of that he was definitely ahead of his time. He was one of those quarterbacks that you see more quarterbacks like him today, and had he not done what he did, probably would have been a Hall of Famer. Michael Vick was an incredible talent.
Yeah.
But my top 5.
Just keep him away from your dogs.
People like
got
to. I know it's not the conventional approach. I heard Kyle right away say it's Brady number 1, not even close. I got a different guy at number 1.
Montana's close. I'd say he's.
I don't got Montana at number 1.
Ooh.
I have Peyton at number 1. I don't know
got
about
Peyton
you.
Manning at number 1.
Yeah,
Hey,
me
he's
too.
my number.
Oh,
Wow.
me too.
Yeah, I got Peyton Manning at number 1. My reasoning being was I thought Peyton meant more to his team than Tom Brady meant to the
100%.
Peyton Manning goes down. They win like 2 games. They get the first overall pick. Brady goes down. They go 11-5 with Matt Castle. I just think Peyton meant more to his team. Now, of course, Brady won more Super Bowls. But my argument to that is always Peyton Manning had to face Belichick. Tom Brady never did. So, but if you're one of those guys that goes strictly off accomplishments, I can't win that debate. Brady's got 6 Super Bowls. He's been to 9. So I can't win that debate. And I think it's a fun debate to have, though.
The only thing is though when it comes to accomplishments, it's not an individual accomplishment. If you win the Super Bowl, you need the whole team, you need the coaching staff, you need everything. And I think when it came to Peyton Manning, I think his team was just so dependent on him. In terms of Tom Brady, is like the Patriots have been an amazing team. Their defense this year have won them games alone. You know what I mean? That wasn't the case with Peyton Manning, and that's what tops him off for me.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting debate.
I think
real quick on that. All right.
Oh, sorry, you go.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead, Kyle. Defend Brady. Brady.
Oh no, I'm not going to defend Brady. It's just that people like to give Adam Gase a lot of credit for Peyton Manning. Like he's the quarterback whisperer. I mean, I just stop it. The guy sucks. I mean, he's the worst coach. Like I don't want to hear that crap. I mean, Peyton Manning is good because he's Peyton Manning, not because of no Adam Gase.
Yeah, Peyton Manning was the coach.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning was
honestly,
the coach. Adam Gase, he's gonna be fired. I don't think he makes it past this year. I think this is last year with the Jets.
He's on something too.
I'd say
Remember that press conference with his eyes? Yeah. Everybody said Harrison. Everybody said Harrison looked like Daniel Jones. He looks more like Adam Gase to me.
Man.
Yeah, I think for my top 5, I hate Brady more than any. The only sports player two sports players I hate more is Kevin Durant for being a snake, and same with Paul George. They were both my favorite players until they snaked. But I will say Tom Brady. He kind of has to be number 1. I hate to say it, but then Montana is a very close second in my opinion. Manning at 3. You can make the case for Rodgers because he's that talented. But for the other, that's kind of my top 3. I don't really have a ranking outside of that. But you look at Steve Young and Unitas and all those guys. So there's
Steve Young's another guy that's not talking
and
about.
Eli Manning.
Love
He's
Eli.
top 10. Eli's top 10 though.
Wow, you got him. Eli's my favorite player, and I don't have him top 10. You guys got him top 10?
I mean, all the stats, they say he's top 10 in every stat. He beat Tom Brady twice. I mean, I'm not a big Eli Manning fan, but, come on.
Eli's my guy. So if you guys say he's top 10, I'll say he's top 10. Kevin, what do you think? Who's the greatest quarterback who ever lived?
You guys forgot the GOAT.
Who's the
Nathan
GOAT?
Peterman.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Kevin
joke,
wins.
that
It's Nathan Peterman. I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. And Benjamin, man, thanks for that, Benjamin. I appreciate it. He says, being from the LA area, my girlfriend and I skipped school to go to Kobe's memorial. He meant so much to not only the Lakers organization, but the entire world. He definitely is a Hall of Famer, and I got to disagree with you, Chris. He's right behind Jordan. Hey, listen, that's what's fun about sports. People could it's definitely a fair debate, and I think it comes down to what you value in a basketball player. Kobe Bryant definitely had that. Yeah. Well, I think one thing that I think people have grown to really appreciate about Kobe is in today's day and age with the NBA, everybody pairs up with everybody. Kobe had that mentality. He was like, I want to do this on my own. Get Shaq the hell out of here. I want this. I want my team. I want to win with my team. And he was kind of the last guy to really be like that. And I think that's what people love about him.
Yeah, I think
you can talk about Jamal. You can talk about Jamal Adams about that too now. Him wanting to go to a different team, not getting a contract, so he can be winning. Like, come on. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's how sports are.
I think the only guys with like that dog in them was LeBron's great, but he doesn't have like that killer instinct that Michael and Kobe have. There's only, I don't think many players in the NBA have like the nastiness besides Westbrook and a couple others in the league that just straight want to win.
I mean, Shaq broke like 5 baskets. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's crazy.
He's kind of hungry.
Yeah, Shaq's rookie year, the guy broke like 5 backboards. Mike, man, thanks so much for. Okay, we got another one. Okay, he says top 5 running backs and top 5 wide receivers of all time. All right, we'll just do running backs because wide receivers you can do so many. We'll do running backs. Top 5 running backs ever. I'm not gonna give you an order, but Jim Brown is in there. Barry Sanders is in there. I think I'd have Tomlinson in there. Marshall Faulk, I think I'd have in there. And I know I'm forgetting somebody. I know I'm going to sound silly. Walter Payton. Those will be my 5 off the top of my head. Of course, you could throw O.J. Simpson in there.
Barry Sanders.
I said Barry Sanders. I thought.
Yeah. What about Peterson?
Emmett Smith.
I always thought.
No.
And this is the Giants fan coming out in me. I always thought, even though Emmitt Smith's the all-time rushing leader, or I think he still is, Emmitt Smith had. I could have run behind that offensive line and averaged 5 yards a carry. So I always thought Emmitt Smith, and I'm a Giant fan, so maybe I sound biased. To me, Emmitt Smith's not a top 5 running back ever. I would take Peterson. I would definitely take Peterson over Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Who do you guys like? Top 5?
We'll go around in order. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, let's start with Kyle.
Same as you, except I LT taken out. Not LT. LaDainian Thompson. Sorry.
There's only one LT.
Yeah, that's my fault. And I put Peterson in for him.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I could work with that. What about you, Nerd and Out Sports?
Peyton, Walter Payton, Barry Sanders. I do like Emmitt Smith a lot. LaDainian Tomlinson. I liked Edgerrin James a lot. I know I wouldn't put him in the top 5, but I just wanted to kind of throw that name out there. I was a big fan of Edgerrin James. What about Terrell Davis?
Ooh, the only problem with Terrell Davis is he only played like 5 or 6 years, but he was Guy had 2,000 yards. The guy was great, but it was short lived. But yeah, he was fantastic before he went down. He had the migraines.
Yeah, I'd probably put Peterson in there too. Like Adrian Peterson doesn't get nearly as much recognition as he deserves.
Peterson's a good one. Eric Dickerson's another guy I didn't bring up. Eric Dickerson, I think, was the first guy to 2,000 yards. There's so many great. Gale Sayers. There's so many great running backs. Antonis, what do you think?
At number one, I'll go Saquon. No, I'm joking. One day in 10 years. I think definitely Sanders, Peterson, Brown are up there for me. And okay, you're gonna learn this about me. I'm a big entertainer guy. I watch sports to be entertained. I watch you to be entertained. You know what I mean? So if a guy's entertaining, I'm gonna have him up there. Marshawn Lynch. I love the grit on the field, man.
He wouldn't be in my top 5, but it's not a bad answer. He was a great running back.
When it comes to me, because sports is all about opinions, and for me, it's I'll have a player a lot higher in the rankings because they were more entertaining to watch, and that's the reason you watch sports at the end of the day, is to be entertained. So, Marshawn Lynch, you got to at least give him credit for it. So,
yeah,
I'll tell you what, Marshawn Lynch, that run he had, I think it was against the Saints, was it, in the playoffs?
Yep. Yeah.
It was an earthquake.
That's the greatest run I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I mean that was ridiculous. I'll give him that. That's probably the greatest run I've ever seen. But Jolly, go ahead. Give me your top 5.
Well, and I'd say Barry Sanders, in no particular order because it's really hard. Because there's so many. I'd say Barry Sanders, Walter Sweetness Payton, Bo Jackson is one of my. He's definitely up there. I know he didn't play much, but he was so talented. LT is definitely really, really high up there.
He was a linebacker.
Huh?
There's only one else.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. LaDainian Tomlinson. Yeah. I love LaDainian, watching him. In terms of Giants, I think this man right here, Saquon, Adrian Peterson, who I think is up there as well, he said it himself. He thinks he can be the best of all time. I could see it. He'll be, I think when it's all said and done, Saquon is that good. He can be in the top 5, top 10 of all time. When it's all said and done. But Otis, I love in terms of Giants running backs, I love Tiki Bubba and Otis Anderson. Watching, obviously they're not that high up, but I love watching them. I see someone in the chat saying Paul Perkins. Obviously he's number 1, but it just goes without saying. But yeah, that's probably where I
Rodney Hampton was another. Rodney Hampton was another.
Oh yeah,
running back. Yeah. Charles Way. We've had a couple of good running backs.
Rashad Jennings.
Yeah. Oh God.
What about Ron Dane? Forget Ron Dane.
That guy's terrible.
Who was it? Ron Dane, you said?
Yeah.
Oh God. What a horrible pick that was. Kevin, what about you? Give me your top 5 running backs.
Barry Sanders and Jim Brown 1 and 2. And then I got Emmitt Smith and LaDainian Tomlinson. I'm still split on a lot of people for that 5th spot, but
yeah.
You go with a lot of guys there. Like we were saying, there's so many. And we didn't even mention guys like Earl Campbell. There's so many great running backs historically. Blue Collar Man, thanks so much for love. He says, you guys are all Giants fans who's never seen LT play. Have you guys researched LT? And is he the best defensive player ever? All right.
Best football player of all time. Joking.
Wow, you go that far, huh?
No,
I mean, that's not crazy. No, some people definitely think that.
Yeah, I'd say
defensively.
Go ahead. I see Bad Dog in the chat. What's up, my man? I'm sure everyone here is a massive Bad Dog fan, so big ups to you, man.
What's going on, Bad Dog?
Yeah, I'd say LT's the best, in my opinion. I know, obviously, Giants bias, but I'd say, I know that's well before my time, but LT was different. He's the best defensive player of all time, in my opinion. What else needs to be said? He's LT, man. He's different.
Yeah. Anybody else with a take on LT?
He's the best.
My grandpa watched a lot of him.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And he's just as good on Madden as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The thing with LT that, I didn't even bring this up about Peyton Manning. Another thing, when I get in arguments about the greatest quarterback ever, I think Peyton Manning changed the game. I could say the same thing about Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor changed the way the game is played. And I think that's how you measure all-time great players. And there's never been a defensive player that's changed the game more than him. So that would be my argument as to why he's the greatest defensive player who's ever lived. The guy won games. It is very rare since I've been watching the sport that you see a defensive player put the team on his back. There's a handful of guys that could do it from time to time, but Lawrence Taylor did it pretty routinely. So he was just beyond special. He changed the game entirely.
They made a movie about him.
Yeah, exactly.
The Black Side, yeah.
And Mike says, entertain. I have Calvin Johnson, number 1. That's
he's in my top 5 overall receivers.
Top 5, but not number 1. Number 1's got to be Jerry Rice.
I think he's number 2.
100%.
Bold prediction. Sorry, not prediction, but he's bold statement. He's my second top receiver of all time.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just
it's not crazy. If Calvin Johnson played longer, I think he would have been. The guy had 2,000 yards almost. I think 1946 in 1 year. I don't know if he played long enough though. I'd have to look at the numbers, but to me, it's like Rice is like 1, and the next highest is like 10. Like it's that big of a gap between the first and second at that position. You can make an argument. We were talking about Taylor. You can make an argument that Rice is the greatest player who's ever lived at any position.
Yeah, but he said Eli's not a Hall of Famer, so he's a bum.
I mean, he's up there in the top 100 rankings now. I think he's in the top 3, is he not?
Jerry Rice, I think he is.
Yeah. I'd say
and well deserved as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's
a winner.
Yeah. Chris, it's early, but who do you see us picking? All right, I'm not going to give you a name, but all right, let's talk a little bit about next year's draft, even though it's very hard to speculate because we don't know how the players on this team are going to perform. But I think we know right now probably what we think will be our biggest needs going into the 2021 draft. I'll start with Kyle. What do you think we're looking at in next year's draft if you were the GM? What position?
Yeah, I'm going offensive tackle again. You got to cut Solder. He's done. I don't want him on the team after this year. I think he's got enough, off the field issues with this kid, which I feel bad for. So I think he needs to deal with that. I would go offensive tackle, the Penei Sewell guy from Oregon. I would pick him honestly. If we're picking number 1 overall, I got to
trade down. You trade down, or you
trade down, or I'm picking Trevor Lawrence. I mean, either one, honestly.
Here's what I'll say in defense to Kyle. Here's what I'll say. And I think Daniel Jones is going to be good. I'm all aboard the Daniel Jones train. I don't think we're going to be picking first. But in Kyle's defense, if we are picking one, first off, Gettleman's gone. Gettleman's not going to be here if we go 2-14. Secondly, more than likely, Daniel Jones didn't get better. He regressed if we have the number 1 pick. So
exactly.
This is a hypothetical scenario, but I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility if we were picking 1. I don't think we're going to be picking 1. But it's interesting that you say, and I know he's incredible. Everything you hear about Penei Sewell is he got Heisman votes. People are saying he's the best tackle. Like, people are saying he's a much better tackle prospect than Andrew Thomas, who was so talked about. But we drafted Matt Parrott. You don't think that Parrott would be the right tackle?
I'm not about the development. I don't do that stuff. You pick a guy who's going to play the position, do it well. He's going to be a home run, or at least you think he is. He could be good Parrott. I'm not going to rule him out, but I mean, you got Sewell right there. I'm taking him, and you're making an offensive line, incredible. Like Eli never had it. The Jerry Reese was a joke with the offensive line he put together. So we need a good offensive line for Jones.
I love the Hog Mollies. I wouldn't cry about it. Nerd Out Sports. What do you think position wise in the first round next year if you had to pick right now?
From what all the early reports are, it seems like receiver is going to be loaded, and if health is still an issue with some of these guys, they could end up cutting Golden Tate. I think they go wide receiver or edge rusher. But I do agree with Kyle. If you can build that offensive line, because if you go back to what we had in 2007 in those days, there wasn't a better line in the league.
I say that all the time, man. That offensive line doesn't get enough credit. Everybody talks about the defensive line. Everybody talks about Eli. That offensive line was the best in the league for a 2 or 3 year period. But the one thing I will say, we didn't invest early first round picks on that team. They just worked great together as a unit. But I'm all about the offensive line. I think that makes everybody else better. Wide receiver is definitely going to be one of the more popular options. The thing that I find interesting about the edge rusher, and we'll see if the Giants have that philosophy, if you look at the New England Patriots over the course of time, very rarely, off the top of your head, name a great edge rusher that the New England Patriots had. Name an edge rusher that they spent a lot of money on. Name an edge rusher that they drafted early in the draft. They kind of had that philosophy of generate pass rush through coverage, through scheme. And it seems like Joe Judge has that same mentality, even though I do agree with you that edge rusher is a huge need for this team. I don't know if they'll invest a first-round pick in an edge rusher if you look over the course of history with Bill Belichick, even though I would be completely for it. I'm just saying what I think they could potentially do. I could see the receiver. Antonis, what do you think about what you think the biggest need for the Giants?
I think I could use the same argument you just made against you. So you said that you can't see them taking an edge rusher first.
Well,
I think,
I can. I'm just saying I think it's
Yeah.
possible.
it's a possibility. I think it's exactly the same with wide receiver. I think wide receiver is a position that, I don't think should be going in the first round. I wouldn't like to see the New York Giants taking a wide receiver in the first round because, if you look at the best receivers in the league, a lot of them came second, third, fourth round. You can still get very high impact receivers in the later rounds. I think I agree with Kyle. I'd probably go with the edge rusher or maybe a really good linebacker, but you can't really tell because you don't know what's going to be in the free agency market. You don't know if we're going to make any trades. You don't know what position we're going to end up, but I'd probably go for the edge rusher because when it comes to impact, you're taking a first round. I think an edge would have more of an impact than a wide receiver would. So,
yeah. Before we get to Harrison, I think I would actually go in an ideal world. We don't know who's going to be there. I think this team could really, really use a great coverage linebacker. On the defensive end, I would say that would be my biggest need. Now, is there going to be a guy there that makes sense? Like, let's say Isaiah Simmons was in next year's draft. That would be the type of player that I would love to get in the first round. Now, is there going to be a guy there when we pick? I don't know. But that would be my line of thinking. Harrison, what about you, buddy?
All right. I think
just one thing. Sorry to add before you said that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, if we're roughly around like 15, and Chase ends up falling to 15, like Jerry Jeudy did with the Cowboys, I think if it does come to that position where we're in a great value to pick an amazing wide receiver, I'd definitely go for it. I'm not saying I'd rule it out, but depending on where we fall. But like, for example, if it comes to the same as the Cowboys position where they were in this year, then I'd definitely go for the wide receiver. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Yeah, no, that's a great point you bring up. And they say that this year's class, and Greg, I'm going to get to that donation in a second. They say that this year's class is even deeper than last year's class at that position, the wide receiver. So that's even more of an argument. Even though there's some great ones at the top, you could get a very good one probably in the second or third round, which is why I would focus on the defense, or even like you said, maybe even the offensive line. Maybe you go center in the second round, something that we could definitely need. Harrison, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm very much like you. I'm of the opinion that, and with Kyle, I love the hog molly. I think we did a great job addressing it this year. I think Kurt's the future right tackle. I love his potential, so I think he's a good pick. So I don't think we need to address tackle, and I don't know much about the draft, but we've addressed hog mollies in this free agency. But I want to get serious, right? All right. I'm a flashy guy, right? I love the receiver. I love Odell with the one-handed catches. He's about that life. I want Jamar Chase. I'm not going to lie. I want the flashy little wider. I love having that superstar. I'm getting myself like an idiot. I love watching the big plays. Obviously, the one thing that scares me about him is some not off the field stuff, but his personality. I saw on the sideline he did some very inappropriate gestures. I'm not sure if you've seen the clip. I'm not going to do it now because it's kind of inappropriate, but something involving the female private parts. But he'd be really good to have. Greg Rousseau, obviously, I'm not sure we're going to be high enough to get a guy like him because this edge class coming up is kind of weak, and the free agency one's much bigger in terms of pass rusher. So I'm of the opinion that I want either a receiver or a pass rusher, but in the draft it might be a bit tricky to get a good rusher.
I think that's most people. I think most people would want wide receiver and edge rusher. Kevin, what do you think?
Like, if we look at, like, wide receiver, we have potential there. Like, Darius Slayton, we have potential. Edge rusher, we got Fackrell and Zimenez. They have potential. But, like, for a coverage linebacker, we don't really have someone with potential who could start, like, 2021 being a coverage linebacker. Like, if we draft Micah Parsons out of Penn State to be that guy, he could be, like, our best coverage linebacker.
Yeah, that's where I'd be leaning. I'm with you. I depending. Who knows who's going to be there? Who knows where we're going to be picking? And if it'll be appropriate to take a linebacker where we're picking. But I'm kind of with you. I think a coverage linebacker is really what I would like to see. Greg, man, thanks so much for letting me. I appreciate it. He says, "Yo, I made it. Dad joke inserted here as the only day appropriate for running back depth. Interesting storyline in camp." Greg, man, thanks so much for the love, man. So you're talking about running back depth. Is that an interesting storyline in camp? Yeah, we could talk about the running back behind Saquon Barkley. Obviously, I think we all agree that Barkley's either the first or probably second best running back in the league right now, either him or McCaffrey. But one thing that I talk about all the time on my channel, I don't think over the last couple of years that the Giants have done enough in terms of utilizing the backup running backs on this roster. Maybe some of that has to do with the fact that Gallman's not that good. He fumbles a lot. They went out there. They bring in Lewis. Javon Leak's an undrafted free agent who a lot of people seem to like. Averaged 7.5 yards a carry at Maryland. What do you guys think of the depth on this roster at the running back position? I personally would have preferred they drafted one maybe in the 5th or 6th round. I think we needed a thumper. Not to say that, a Brandon Jacobs type of running back. We don't really have that. A guy that could go in there and get the tough yardage, maybe be a little bit better of a pass blocker. To spell Barkley here and there in those short yardage situations. But Kyle, what do you think about the running back as a whole outside of Barkley?
I'm a big Wayne Gallman fan. I mean, I don't think he's really gotten any fair credit, and Shermer barely used Barkley to begin with. So I mean, using the backup running back was not going to happen either if you don't use your main running back. So I would keep Gallman. I don't know why people want to cut him. The guy costs nothing, so I would keep him. And you got Lewis behind him, who's a little guy, kind of like a Darren Sproles. He's going to catch it on 3rd down, but you have Saquon for that, so. I don't know. I don't really see a role for him either, but I like Gallman. Gallman's my guy, and him behind Barkley I like.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about Gallman, he's had fumbling problems. I think he's had 12 fumbles and not a lot of carries, but he hasn't gotten an opportunity really outside of his rookie year. It's kind of hard for a running back to really, I guess, get it going when he's getting a couple of carries here, a couple of carries there. They haven't used them enough. They haven't used, like you said, they haven't used Barkley enough either. They just haven't run the ball enough in general.
He's a joke, Shermer. Shermer's a joke.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Shermer sucks. But Nerd Out Sports, what do you think about the running back depth behind Barkley?
I like Gallman a lot too. He's got to get fix that fumbling issue, like you said. But if we can get something close to what we had back in 2008, when we obviously had almost 3 1,000-yard rushers that year. Bradshaw was a little further down the depth chart, but Garrett loves to run the ball. And they can't run Saquon into the ground, so you need that number 2 guy. And I think Gallman can really step up. And I love Dion Lewis signing. I think he's going to really have a better year than people think because he's a dual threat.
Yeah, they signed him for nothing. It was like $1 million, $1.5 million. So nothing to lose there. And he's a guy that has some experience with Judge. So I'm with you on Lewis. It was a good signing. Antonis, what do you think of the running back depth behind Barkley?
I don't know. I'm a big firm believer that Garrett's going to utilize Saquon as much as he can because he is a generational talent. They're fixing the offensive line. They're going to give Barkley a lot of they're going to give him that chance to shine. So I don't know how much we'll be utilizing the running backs behind. I think Dion Lewis will make a good impact in 3rd down situations. I don't know how I feel about Gallman. I don't mind him. I don't think he's great though. But when it comes to a backup running back, he's exactly what you need. As you said, he does have a lot of fumbling issues. But the one thing that I am excited about is maybe the possibility of Penny being used this year as a fullback. You made a video on it as well. That's one thing that I think is going to be utilized. You see, it's worked for the 49ers as well. So that I would love to see, even if it's. Because you add this possibility of the fakes, the reads, the fullback counters, even just Penny lead blocking for Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley doesn't need a lead blocker anyway, but just imagine if he did have one. So yeah. I think I'm more excited for Penny than anything else.
That's a great point you bring up, and that's why I made the video on it when I read the article because I couldn't believe the numbers. And I knew they didn't use a fullback a lot last year because I stream all the games, but. The 49ers last year, it's a copycat league, like I said in the video, and the 49ers kind of really brought that back. Last year, I think it's Juszczyk, however you pronounce it, he was on the field almost 40% of the time, where our fullback, Penny, was on the field 11% of the time. You look at the Vikings, who did a great job running the football last year with Cook. Their fullback was on the field, I think, 36, 37% of the time. So I agree with you. And Garrett, historically, has used the fullback a lot more than the Giants did last year. That's a great point you bring up. Penny will have just as much of an impact as anybody else when it comes to the running game outside of Saquon Barkley. I think they will use the fullback a lot more this year as the lead blocker. That's a great point. Harrison, what about you, buddy?
All right, real quick. You're probably wondering why I'm having attention, bro. Everyone's still clowning me with this Daniel Jones stuff, man. Bro, Everyone's like, "Oh, you look like Daniel Jones, original." Look, for anyone that I won't take off my cap, that is my hair. That is my real hair when I don't have hat hair. All right, so
It's a good looking head of hair. I'll take it.
But thank you, man. But back to the running backs. Saquon, I think he's the best running back in the league. Period. I know, obviously, last year, production wise, was McCaffrey because Barkley didn't play. But I just want to talk one little bit about Barkley. He was never used in week 1 and 2. In week 1 especially, he only had 11 carries and over 100 yards. And then week 2 against Buffalo, he had like 100 and something yards and a touchdown. Then that's when he got injured in week 3. When he came back, he was playing injured and was never utilized properly. But then later towards the end of the season, you see the Washington game where he has a career game. You see the Dolphins game where he scores 2 touchdowns. The Eagles, he gets to 1,000 yards and the touchdown where he pieces out from the 50. He was when he gets back to his health, people forget how monstrous he is. So I think he's definitely the best. But in terms of the depth, Dion Lewis, I like that signing. I thought it was solid. We got the familiarity with Joe Judge and from his Patriot days. And then you've got Wayne Gallman, who I really like. Yeah, you bring up the fumble point, Chris, and I completely agree with that. But I love his talent. He played really solid in that Redskins game. And then Javon Leak, I get the 7.5 yards a carry. I'm just not sure. He might make the team. Maybe Gallman gets cut. But I probably see him as a practice squad just because, it's undrafted. Just because they might be really, really talented doesn't mean they're always going to make the team. So I like Leak, but I'm just not getting my hopes up on him because,
fair. He's an undrafted free agent. He may help in the special teams department. And one thing I meant to say at the top of the show, I completely forgot. Jack Neal, I hope he's listening. He asked me to give his dad a shout out for Father's Day. So there you go, Jack. Almost forgot to do that. Meant to do that at the top of the show. Jack's been a great subscriber of mine. So there you go. Paul, his dad. Happy Father's Day. Kevin, go ahead. Tell me your thoughts on the running back for the New York Giants behind Saquon Barkley.
I'm not a big fan of Gettleman, but he's like a serviceable like number 2 back, I guess. But Dion Lewis, that's like Saquon Barkley's replacement if like he gets injured or if he's too tired within the game.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's versatile. But obviously he's not even close. But he's a guy that could catch the ball coming out of the backfield. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I would have rather us gotten a really big thumper. But for what we paid for Lewis, he brings a veteran presence. He's pretty sure-handed with the football. You can't really go wrong there. But yeah, I don't think it's perfect behind Barkley, but I think we have some serviceable players back there. I am the entertainer. I come to do my show. You heard my latest record. I'm Hazelnut. This isn't a singing stream, but I appreciate that. Let's see what we got here. Porzingis. Let's see what we got. By the way,
Can
anybody
I ask a question?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, of course. That's what we should be doing, guys. Go ahead, ask me questions.
I was just gonna say because we were talking about what we want to do next year in the draft. Everybody seemed to agree that obviously, we need a wide receiver. What are your guys' opinions on like the OBJ trade?
Oh, that's a good question.
Good one.
You want me to start? You guys are gonna hate me because I know.
You go first, yeah.
I know there's some OBJ guys in here.
You might be surprised.
I think it was a good trade. I thought it was a good trade when they made it. I know that a lot of people hated it because OBJ was probably a lot of younger fans. He was the reason they started watching the team and why they got into the team. But I always looked at OBJ as a guy that was not, even though people say he was great in the locker room. I mean, the guy was going to the press, talking about Eli Manning. The guy was doing, whether or not you want to say he was doing cocaine, he was putting himself in situations that he shouldn't have been putting himself in. Well, the kicking that, the Josh Norman thing, he was a distraction. Now, was he worth that distraction? Well, that's what you have to weigh. He was a tremendously talented player. But I think what the Giants looked at and why they made the trade, they knew they were going to be drafting Daniel Jones. They saw the headaches he was causing for Eli Manning. They saw the headaches Eli Manning had to deal with when he was first starting with the New York Giants, with T.E. Barber, with Jeremy Shockey. And they didn't want that. They wanted Daniel Jones to come in with team first guys. And I think they made the trade before they felt like it was too late. That's my honest opinion. I think if they would have waited, you might get an Antonio Brown-like return. If the guy gets hurt again, everybody forgets he only played 16 games over his last 32. So going into that year, he still had some injury concerns. So, and I think what they got back, when you look at it by comparison for what other teams have gotten for wide receivers, look what the Texans got for DeAndre Hopkins. Look what the Steelers got.
That was a joke, though. That was a joke.
Yeah, the Giants cleared $15 million in cap space. They drafted Dexter Lawrence, O'Shane Ximines, and they got Jabril Peppers. And then, you could say with that $15 million, which we'll say is more like 10 because those draft picks cost some money. You brought in a guy like Martinez. So 4 guys on your starting defense you essentially got from that trade. And I think the wide receiver, like I think it was Antonis said, I think it's the type of position where you could find value in most drafts in the 3rd, the 4th round, like you did. I did a video on this. You go back, look over the course of history over the last 10 drafts. That is the position more so than any other. I think there were 22 Pro Bowlers over a 10-year span where I did that video that were second round or later, and there were 11 Pro Bowlers in the first round. So 2/3 of the Pro Bowlers were in the second round or later. It's definitely a position where you could find value in the draft. I like the trade from the start. I think it was the right trade. I think it was a ballsy move. I don't think many GMs would have the balls to do that, especially in New York, but I think it was the right one. But Kyle, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, well, this kid Cruz on 26, he said Odell told the truth about Eli. I kind of agree with that. I do think Eli was washed at that point in 2017.
But here's what I'll say. Go ahead. I think you're going to say what I was going to say.
The way he went about it was a complete douche move. Oh, sorry, I said that. But, it just you don't do that to your quarterback. I don't know what he's doing. The catch got to his head. My dad, he's a Jets fan, but he hated Odell. I mean, he's a Giants fan too a little bit, but I mean, he completely hated Odell. I hated Odell. I couldn't stand him. I just wanted to shut up and just play. The best thing that happened to him was when he got his head hit by the kicking net. That was the best thing. I had the thing on replay. I couldn't stop laughing. The guy, he was a cancer. I mean, honestly, the best thing was to trade him. The value we got back at first, I was kind of pissed about. Jabril Peppers, I'm a big fan of, but I thought we could have got a little bit more. The first round pick, we got Dexter Lawrence. I wasn't that happy with at first. A defensive tackle in the first round, I thought was kind of a joke. Montez Sweat was my guy. I wanted him. I wanted Josh. What was the other guy's name?
Josh Allen.
The Carolina Panthers got him.
Brian
Burns. I wanted him, but they took him before us. So, it is what it is. Dexter Lawrence is pretty good, so I'm happy with him. I'm overall happy with the trade. I wanted him gone. The guy was a joke. He's a joke in Cleveland. He's got so many issues mentally, and I feel bad. He needs help.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say to that, man. Here's what I'll say to that. As far as Cruzon's a great subscriber of mine. Always tunes into my streams. I will not deny what he said was the truth. Eli Manning was not what he was, but you do not go. It's not just Eli Manning. It's any teammate, especially Eli Manning. This is a guy that is the face of the New York Giants. He's on the New York Giants all-time Mount Rushmore. If you want to say that to the coach behind closed doors, if you want to say that to Eli Manning behind closed doors, by all means. You don't voluntarily organize interviews to bash your quarterback. Yeah, he told the truth, but that's not being
with
a good
Little
teammate.
Wayne.
Yeah,
Wayne was there.
Yeah.
Like, what is that about?
I don't think why Giants fans were upset was ever what he said in terms of whether it was the truth or whether it wasn't. It was the fact that he went out of his way to go to the media and throw his teammate under the bus, a guy who meant that much to the New York Giants organization. It's just not a good look. And it makes you question, is he going to do the same thing for the quarterback you bring in? Who's to say? Daniel Jones, we didn't know what he was going to do in his rookie year. Who's to say if Daniel Jones struggles like most rookies do in their rookie year, he wouldn't have done the same thing? So that was always my mindset. I think that was one of the primary reasons why they traded him. Nerd Out Sports, want to get your thoughts on the OBJ trade?
I think like most fans at first, I was confused because they had just re-signed him. But in terms of the value, I like that they mixed it with the Olivier Vernon trade because originally I think we were supposed to give up a 4th in that trade to get Zeitler, and we were getting back a 5th. So they mixed it so we got to keep the 4th round pick that year, which I think turned into Kyle Lauletta, if I'm not mistaken. But
he was good.
But overall, I can't complain with the results. Like I like Peppers a lot. Lawrence turned out to be a lot better than we could have thought. I think he was never really talked about as being a sack guy, but what do you have, like 4 sacks last year? So he makes the whole line better. And Zeitler's great. And Olivier Vernon had to go because he wasn't playing. I mean, when he was on the field, he was good, but he just couldn't stay healthy. So I think overall it was a solid trade. And I loved Jimenez.
Peace out, Bad
Yeah.
Dog. By the way, he's just dipping out the chat, so I thought I'd just there. Sorry,
Bad
to cut
Dog,
you off.
have a great night. No, not at all. Bad
Bad
Dog, have a
Dog.
great night. He'll
Yeah,
be
Bad Dog.
Much love, brother.
he'll be on the channel either Thursday or Friday. Antonis, let me get your thoughts. I know before we started, you told me you were a huge Beckham fan. He was I think your favorite player when you first got into the Giants.
I wouldn't say I'm a big fan. I think when you've got a play like that of that talent on your team, you're very enthusiastic about them. But I definitely agree with you. I think in terms of what we got back, it was definitely worth it. And if anybody that's played competitive sports, there's nothing worse than being in a team with a guy that's got a terrible tantrum, in the locker room. So, I really agree with all you guys. I think if he's saying things like that about Eli in front of the media, imagine where he's meant to be holding his tongue and showing professionality. Imagine what he's doing in the locker room.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I definitely agree with you. You got Saquon Barkley.
Whoa.
They were really good friends. You don't want that negative influence on a
OGR.
guy that's going to be your star player. Same with Daniel Jones. You're bringing in a new QB, so I definitely agree with you guys. But I mean, this is an honest opinion, and I know there's gonna be loads of little kids right now that are gonna go crazy in the comments.
Listen, man. I got to deal with it all the time. Sometimes people don't like when you say negative things about OBJ.
You know what?
It is what it is.
Very, very talented, but he's not productive. So if you're getting a first round plus 3, plus Peppers and a fourth round and whatever you're getting for a guy that's never really hit his best and he's never really producing that well on the field, then it's a steal for me.
Yeah. I think in the end, I think even we still got to let it play out. What if OBJ goes out there and has 1,800 yards this year? But so far, the trade looks like
for sure. But he never did that. He never did that for us in the 2-3 seasons that he was with us. So
the last 2 years, yeah. But yeah, no, I listen. I'm a fan of the trade. I'm behind the trade. I'm going to get to those donations in a second. But you brought up the Eli Manning thing. Think about Daniel Jones. He was willing, and I'll read Cruz on Super Chat. He says, "What exactly did Odell say that he can't throw the long ball?" I think people overreacted, and it's a matter of opinion. And I'd have to go back and look at the transcript. I think it was a little bit more than that, but I don't remember all the. I don't remember all the exact words of what he said. But I remember when I read it, I was like, "Why is he doing this?" But here's what I say: if he's willing to do that with a quarterback like Eli Manning, a guy that's a Hall of Fame quarterback, a guy that's a legend of the football team, how do you think he's going to treat a rookie quarterback if he's not doing well?
Yeah.
So that was why I was always like, I completely understand why they traded the guy. Harrison, I'm going to read OGR's donation, and then we're going to get to you, man. OGR, man, thank you so much, man, for the incredible generosity. I really appreciate that. If you guys haven't done so, go on over to OGR. He says, the funny thing about OBJ fans, I asked him all the time, what has OBJ done since the ankle injury? Numbers-wise, he hasn't been the same player that he was prior to the ankle injury. Either way, great thing you got going on here. Tina, my name's Tana. Much respect. No, I know that was a typo. OGR, man, thanks so much for love, man. And, that's basically, I think, what most people are saying here, man. But OGR, man, going over there, check him out. Thank you so much for all the love on the channel. And Harrison, I want to get your take on the whole OBJ trade and everything.
Yeah, just real quick, sub to OGR, one of the best Giant YouTubers out there. There's a lot, but he is really, really good. So everyone go sub. We got to get him to 1,000, man. In terms of Odell, when I first really got into the Giants and literally in Odell's rookie year when we drafted him. So I was kind of in on him when he started, and he was spectacular his first 3 or so seasons. But then that year when, he got the Lil Wayne interview, and I know he didn't say anything too out there, but it's the fact you went out of your way to organize an interview to take subtle shots at your quarterback. Like, who does that? And then there was the Philadelphia game where, yes, we should have attacked them deep when they had like their first 5-string corners all out in 2018, and we just didn't go deep as much as we wanted to, and he was like complaining about it in the press conference. So when the trade happened, I was devastated because I love his play, but then like 3 days afterwards, I just kind of warmed up to the idea that okay, he's a distraction. Those last 4 games where he was injured in 2018. Shermer and Gettleman told him not to come to the game. So if anyone was wondering, that's why he wasn't there. And he made a mini documentary series saying, "Oh, I wasn't allowed to go there," and that really hurt me. And so when he was gone, I wasn't mad. But now looking back at it, there's all these Instagram posts like, would you undo the Odell trade? I wouldn't, never, because Dexter Lawrence, great. He's a great run stuffer, can get you a couple sacks, really push the pocket. You look at O'Shane Ximines, who many people think, many of your subscribers think that he's going to be one of the X factors on this team. And oh my goodness, another Daniel Jones comment, original. Well done. Sorry, joking. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Everyone's made that joke, so well done. Yeah, and then obviously Jabril Peppers, who I think is incredible. I think, everyone's like, when it happened, like Kid Blue's reaction on live stream when it happened, he was like, oh, he's just a punt returner. And I get that, but I think he's going to be one of the best players on our defense next year. And I think he's an incredible expected safety. So, I would never undo that trade, but I did love Odell's talent, not the off the field stuff. He was a loon, but I loved his play. He was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Cruzon says, how did Odell treat Baker? I think DJ would be fine. Well, now he didn't go to the media and say anything directly about Baker, but word did come out, and who knows if it's true or not. Maybe his people leaked it. Maybe it was nonsense. But word did come out last year and even this offseason that he wasn't happy there. Now, it is what it is. Maybe I wouldn't be happy in Cleveland either. That was the right place to trade him if you wanted to piss him off, the New York Giants. I don't think most players would be happy in Cleveland. No, you're right. He didn't say anything derogatory about Baker last year. It's a fair point you bring up, Cruzon. Kevin, go ahead. Let me get your thoughts on the Odell Beckham trade.
So we always compare Kevin Zeitler with Olivier Vernon, but I'm just gonna compare Zeitler with Odell. That's like a fair trade. I would make that every day. That's like a fair trade. We still have to see what the draft picks do, but I'm pretty sure we can agree that we'd rather have O'Shane than Olivier Vernon. So,
at this point,
for less money.
Point. Yeah, for less money too. Yeah, of course.
And then we get extra picks, extra players.
Olivier Vernon's gone at this point. Here's another thing I'll say: if the New York Giants next year draft insert wide receiver here in the first round, and he's one of the better receivers in the league, people forget about this. It's done. Nobody cares anymore. We've got Darius Slayton.
I don't think anyone cares now.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Well, the people that seem to still do. If they draft Jamar Chase next year, we have an improved defense because we made that trade. Now you've got Jamar Chase and you got Darius Slayton. Odell Beckham's done with, and we weren't going to win games with him anyway. Do you think we were going to win any Super Bowls the last 2 years if Odell Beckham was on the team? He didn't win anything. The Browns were supposed to win 10 games last year. They didn't do anything.
So he's all talk. Talk, that guy. All on Instagram, he's all talk. He's going to go to the playoffs next year. Get out of here. You're not going anywhere.
He says that every year, though. He says that every year as well.
I gotta have you guys on the channel more. I like these guys, especially Kyle. I was going after OBJ. I like that. But have a let's see what we got here. Let's get a quick Sonor in the chat. What's going on, Sonor? We do need a receiver. Yeah, we definitely need a receiver. But if we didn't make that trade, we would need a safety. We would need. We 4 of our 11 starting defensive players are from that trade. So you definitely you when you make a trade, you lose something to get something. And like I said, we'll have to wait and see what we do in the draft. But if we find another really good young receiver, I think we forget about it.
Can I just say something on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry,
I don't really think we do need. Well, okay, it's foolish for me to say that, but I don't think wide receiver is as bad or as urgent as people think it is, because you've got Darius Slay, very quick guy. You've got Sterling Shepard, which is a very intelligent wide receiver. You got Ingram if he can stay healthy. You got Saquon Barkley, which is a running back that trucks people and catches just as good as any wide receiver as well. And now you're also improving your offensive line. One of our biggest problems with our wide receivers is that they couldn't get separation. You got Golden Tate as well. Now you're giving our quarterback more time with an improved offensive line, so that'll give them more time to get separation. And then you look at his deep threat as well. With Jason Garrett loves to play the deep ball. If you look at Daniel Jones's deep threat as well, the accuracy that he throws deep. I think you need to give these guys a chance to prove themselves before you can even say, oh, we need to go out there and get a wide receiver. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair. Cruzon brings up a good point there. He says, I like our weapons, but they stay hurt. And he's right about that. Shepard, as much as I like him, one of my favorite players on this team, I absolutely love Sterling Shepard. The guy's always hurt. The guy always has a concussion. Evan Ingram's always hurt. But yeah, here's what I'll say. I think our weapons are being slept on by a lot of Giants fans and people in the media. If they're healthy, would you guys agree with me? If our weapons are healthy, when you factor in the tight ends, when you factor in the running back and the wide receivers as a whole, just the starters, I think we might have one of the top 10 weapons in the league as a complete all-around offense. When you factor in tight end Evan Ingram, I think most people would say he's the top 5 tight end in terms of, being a mismatch and catching the football. Saquon Barkley, one of the top 2 or 3 running backs. And I think we have an adequate wide receiving core. Now, we could use a great wide receiver, but overall, I think our weapons are sound when we're healthy.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yep,
yeah,
I agree.
And as well, if you look at, Bad Dog did a video on this. We have one of the quickest offenses. We average a 4.42 with our top 4 weapons. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that our biggest problem was not being able to get separation, that just shows you how little time our QB had on the ball. So I think that there's a big improvement on our offense that people don't even know about. People that, unless they sit there and analyze or know the game very well, they won't see those type of things. So, I think this year, maybe towards the end of the year, we'll see it a lot more. But I think you're going to start seeing wide receivers like Darius Slay, Golden Tate, Evan Ingram if he's healthy. You might see some amazing seasons, some amazing stats if Daniel Jones start getting the time that he deserves on the ball, especially with the deep routes, and especially with the creativity of Garrett as well.
Yeah,
great point.
Yeah,
and never play with his whole receiving corps either, though. Like they were not all together for one game. So I mean,
correct.
That was one less person they had to account for. So,
and he was literally missing, really outside of 3 starts, a 100% fully healthy Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
The best player on the football team.
And he still managed to have a 1,000-yard season.
That was, most underrated season.
Imagine if Barkley plays like he did in his rookie year, which I think we all agree, if he's healthy behind this offensive line, he might even be better. How much better is that going to make Daniel Jones? So, I think there's encouraging things about this offense if they stay healthy, something that they weren't able to do last year. I do agree completely with that being to me, that's the biggest concern in this offense, outside of whether or not the offensive line takes that next step. It's the durability of the weapons on this team. I do definitely think that's a fair concern.
Yeah.
I got a question for everybody at the roundup. Let's go. I know Tanya, you did this on Twitter, but it was 10. Let's get everyone's top 5 Giants that they not of all time, not like ranking, but like their favorite Giants of all time.
Let's start with Kevin. Give me your top 5 Giants of all time.
Victor Cruz.
Hey,
Love Victor Cruz. Saquon, definitely up there.
All right, Cruz, Saquon, who else?
Eli, obviously. I'm trying to think of names. Justin Tuck, like him too. Probably OC.
It's a good 5. That's I don't remember what my exact top 5 were, but a lot of those guys were in. I had Eli, I had Strahan, I had Tuck. Those were my top 3. I'm trying to remember my 4th and 5th. I think Toomer was in my top 5, and Barkley I think was 5th actually. I love Barkley. Kyle, give me your top 5.
Jacobs, Plax. I met those 2 guys. They're awesome dudes. Oh God. I guess Eli. He's top 5. Amani Toomer. And probably Tiki. I like Tiki.
I named my dog Tiki. I love Tiki until he said what he said about Eli. I was a huge Tiki guy. And Brandon Jacobs, he's a legend. He's a fan. Anytime I talk to a New York Giants fan, I was watching his highlights the other day. I was getting amped up. The guy's running over linebackers.
He's a beast.
I love Brandon Jacobs. Nerding Out Sports, give me your top 5.
Eli, number 1. OC, Strahan, Amani Toomer, Jeremy Shockey.
Shockey, he's a popular one too. Antonis, give me your top 5.
I'd say LT first. I absolutely love LT. I'll go Strahan number 2, Eli Manning number 3, Saquon Barkley number 4, and Samba number 5.
All right. I like it. Giving some different names there. Harrison, who do you like?
Eli is my guy all time. He's what got me into football. But number 2 is my guy, Cruz. Every time I play football, it's when we play as the lunchtime group. It's still anytime I score, I do the salsa. because I don't have a singing voice like you, Chris. I'm a dancer, so I'd always rock out to the salsa. I know this is crazy because he's only just on the team, but Saquon is my third all time. I know that's crazy, but his personality off the field as well as on the field side, he's such a nice dude. He gets it. He's an incredible football player. He has to be my third. DRC is fourth. I know that's crazy.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
I love Mr. Ooh. He was so cool. And then I was talking. He actually replied. If you DM him on Instagram, I have chats with him. He's so cool. So and that was before that was after he went to the Brady's and Redskins. And then fifth guitar. I love Odell's talent, but I kind of can't really look past LT.
Hey, that's fair. The only reason I didn't say LT on my list was because it was players that I saw. But I mean, if I'm talking about all the time, LT's got to be on there.
Yeah, I just realized I said samba instead of salsa. It's 4:00. Look, there's literally light coming out. I apologize. I'm very tired.
Yeah, you want to talk about? We're gonna end this in like 10 minutes, but you want to talk about the most dedicated. This is the second UK subscriber I've had on. It is 4 a.m. where Antonis is right now. This guy is a beast.
There's literally light. Look. Oh man,
this guy is the
morning
man.
light as well.
I'm gonna have to do a London stream one of these days where I have all UK people on, and I started at like noon my time to make it much easier on you guys. I'm gonna have to do one of those. I'll make it a UK stream.
Can I ask Antonis a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You live in England, right?
Yeah.
Do you watch the Premier League?
Of course.
What's your team?
Liverpool.
Expected that.
What do you mean you expected that?
Everyone's a Liverpool fan. Everyone, all of my soccer fans, friends, they're all Liverpool fans.
I want to get into soccer. I can't get into soccer. I try.
I can't.
Really?
I watch during the World Cup. I enjoy the World Cup, but and it's probably because I never played it. I'll say this. I think that soccer players are the best athletes out of anybody in the major sports because
I disagree.
The way that they're able to run up and down that field the entire game, they don't get a break. You can't sub in and out. Their endurance is incredible. Soccer players.
Yeah,
I think tennis.
I can understand. I can understand like what you're saying, but I mean, good stamina. You know what I mean? They don't need a lot more than that. I feel like playing because I've played both American football and soccer or European football. Soccer doesn't even come close. American football is so much more physically demanding.
Oh, of course,
so much more mentally demanding, especially if you play a position like I play, like running back, where you almost need to have 8 eyes. To play that
you know what?
position.
I was just trying to be polite because I know you're a big soccer guy. I was trying to be polite.
No, it's okay.
No. But you're right. I mean, Saquon Barkley. This is one thing I always say. People get into arguments with me about America. They're not good at soccer, and my argument always is, well, if Saquon Barkley was playing soccer and if Steph Curry was playing soccer, we'd be a lot better at soccer. Our best athletes don't play soccer. When you look 100%. At Argentina, those guys are playing soccer when they come out of the womb. So it's just that our athletes don't decide to play that. If our best athletes were playing soccer, we dominate that sport.
Our women's soccer league, women's soccer team is
women's soccer is wrong.
I think there's no debating, and I don't think it even comes close. When you look at athletes, don't look at sports. When you look at athletes, America's produced some of the best. Do you know what I mean? And, in England, it's either rugby or football or soccer. Argentina, South America, soccer. You go to America, they got baseball, they got basketball, they got hockey, they've got NFL, they've got track. You guys are so serious with, boxing. You guys are so serious with so many different sports. I mean, I'm not going to lie. If I grew up in America, I would have never touched a soccer ball.
So let me ask you guys that's an interesting question for Harrison, I guess, because Antonis just gave us his take. Is football your favorite sport, even though that's not like the sport of choice where you live? Is that your favorite sport?
Real quick on soccer, and here, if you play soccer, everyone calls you a pussy. It's obviously the biggest sport in the world, but here, everyone, if you don't play rugby or cricket, if you play soccer, everyone just goes, "Oh, you're a little pussy, aren't you?" So, but yeah, my favorite sport, it's like almost a tie between basketball and American football. Everyone calls it American football because whenever I say football here, I have all the nerds go, "Oh, it's football, it's not soccer. Get it right." And it's like, okay. Yeah, I'd say it's definitely football or basketball. They're probably it depends what I'm feeling at the time, but they're definitely my top two. I love both.
Basketball has definitely grown globally.
Yeah.
Really, like the first, Dirk Nowitzki had a huge impact on that. He was like he was like the first like unbelievable European player, and it's really taken off outside of the States. Guys, we're gonna wrap this up in 5 minutes because I don't want my first guest on the show to fall asleep. It is 4:15 a.m. where he is. But guys, you guys have been absolutely incredible. The guys on the panel have been absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy that all you guys came on today. Thank you to everybody that's been here. I'm going to let you guys ask one more question, and then we'll go around. But I just want to say thank you to all you guys. Kyle, Kyle's my new best friend. I mean, his take on OBJ and his take on Gettleman, absolutely love it. Nerding Out Sportsman, you've done a great job. And if you guys have not gone over to Nerding Out Sports, go over there, check him out. He's got a newer channel. Antonis, man, an absolute pleasure, man. You were by far the most dedicated guy on this panel, being here at 4:30 a.m. Harrison, it's
crazy.
Time for you, so you're not too special. No, I'm kidding. You've been fantastic. and Kevin, man, Kevin, same for you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And even though you didn't show your face, it's okay. Maybe next time. But
you can't get away.
You know what?
Yeah.
Batman's cool. But guys, go ahead. We're gonna ask one more question. I'm gonna let them close it out.
I got a question for you. Let's talk about the Leonard Williams trade because there's a lot of mixed views
that'll
on
be our
that.
final question. That is a great question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, at least for me, I like the trade. I don't know why people bash it. I don't understand like the logic. It's a 3rd round pick. I understand he's getting overpaid right now, but he's going to get a long-term contract. And if not, you can always get rid of him, and then you can just sign Dalvin Tomlinson and fill that spot in the draft next year. But because I don't think you could sign both of those guys. But I like the trade. I thought it was smart. It was like a why not trade. You're not going to get a talent like Leonard Williams in the 3rd round, at least in my opinion, or a guaranteed one. So I thought it was a good trade overall. Okay,
so here's what I'll say, and you bring up a good point in terms of that you're probably not going to be able to draft a good player, as good of a player in the 3rd round as you would with Leonard Williams. But I think what the argument is, why make the trade? You weren't in contention to make the playoffs. You were 2-5 or 2-6. Leonard Williams was going to be a free agent next year anyway. So why not just wait and then sign him? Now, what you can argue from your point of view, like you said, you could have him for a year or two, then let him walk. You get a comp pick that kind of, I guess, gives you back that third round pick if he's a 3rd round comp pick. And you also had the ability, because you made the trade, to franchise tag him. You didn't have to make the long-term commitment. Listen, I like Leonard Williams, the player. I think he was a good fit. I definitely think that you saw the impact that he had on this roster when they brought him over here. Definitely helped in the run defense. I don't think it was the right time to make a trade. And I think that is the move where everybody kills Gettleman. And I try to go to bat for Gettleman whenever I can, because I do think he gets unjustly, treated by the New York media and by a lot of New York Giants fans. That trade, it didn't make sense for me in terms of, just because they were 2-5, 2-6, they weren't going anywhere. To me, it screamed of desperation to try to save his and Pat Shurmur's job. That's why I think. Pat Shurmur in particular. But I'll get your guys' takes on that trade about Leo Williams. Go ahead, Nerding Out Sports.
Like you, I was very confused when they made the trade because at the time they were a losing team. But I think Gettleman always had the intention to bring him back. So in his mind, what you're going to get out of Williams is probably better than what you would get out of any 3rd round pick at that position. So I hope they do bring him back so they can lower that cap hit a little bit, because what's he at like $16 million right now?
Yeah.
So
something crazy.
I think. So if they can maybe re-sign him to a 3-year deal or something and lower that cap hit just a little bit, I think it made all the sense. I thought they would end up trading Janoris Jenkins after doing that, so they can try to get maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick back. So it wasn't that big of a blow from the trade. But I don't, at this point, you can't argue the results he's put on the field. The stats don't really show up, but the overall team performance is better. So I think it was a good trade overall.
I like the positivity, man. Jack Cinder, pal, man. Thank you so much, man, for the super stick. I really appreciate that, man. And I'll get to your take, Antonis, on the Leo Williams trade.
I really like Leo, if I'm honest. I feel like a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't get the stats in terms of like sacks and stuff like that," but you do. maybe not in sacks, but you get it in pressures, you get it in QB hits, you get it in the overall team. If you look at how much we've improved, how many, like, I think we cut almost like 15 yards average per game just by him coming in. I think the problem with the Leo trade was just the trade itself. The third and the fourth pick. It was when it came, when we were 2-5, 2-6. There was no reason to bring him. A lot of people just wanted to hate on it because they wanted to hate on the fact that it was to save Pat Shermer's job. So I feel like a lot of the hate that comes from that trade isn't actually, it doesn't have a lot to do with Leo. I think he's a great player. I think he has a heavy impact on this team. And if we can work out a deal where we pay him a good amount of money, I think 17 might be a little bit too high, but if we can get it down to 14, 15, I'd be very happy to keep him on. But if that doesn't work out, then fair enough. We can always keep Tomlinson, which in my opinion is as well a very good D lineman, and we'll get him for cheap. So cheaper. At least.
Cheaper, yeah, I agree with that. And good points you bring up there. Very good points. And Jack Cinder, I saw that I guess you didn't mean to send the super sticker. You meant to send a question. You said my question didn't go through, shaking my head. I will look for you in the chat, and I will answer your question if there was a mistake there with that. So go ahead and just type your question in. Don't donate. Just type your question. I'll try to get to it. But Harrison, let me get your take on the Leo Williams trade.
Yeah, I very much agree with you, Antonis. Like everyone says, whenever I'm talking online to people that with the Leonard Williams trade, they're like, he only had 0.5 sacks. He sucks. And it's like, wow, you definitely know football, don't you, bro? Nah, you don't. So it was, I think his production, obviously, it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but his impact is definitely a lot. I think the trade, though, itself, I think a third and a fifth that could convert into a fourth was kind of that was a bit of a, overpay for Leonard Williams, I think, especially considering that we're paying him, what is it, like 16 point something million on the franchise tag? Is it? I think something.
Yeah, I think it's 16.4 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that. So, I think if he has a good year this year, and we definitely, like you had your video up today, I think we're gonna pick and choose between either Tomlinson and Leo, and I think Tomlinson's extremely underrated. But I will. It's a tough question between the two. But I think the Big Cat trade was but the player we got in return is definitely underappreciated by a lot of Giants fans who just look at the stat sheet.
Yeah, I think most Giant fans probably don't like the trade, but most Giant fans really like the player. It was just why did you make the trade? You could have waited. Kevin, go ahead. Let me get your take on the Leo Williams trade.
I know, people, they say Leo Williams doesn't have the production, but, he had, I don't remember what the stat was, but he had, the most QB hits of a D lineman, which
that's really
good. Which is, sacks isn't a good indicator of, future sacks, but, pressures and QB hits, they're, better indicators, so he might have, better production next year.
Yeah.
The problem I have is that he took away playing time from BJ Hill. BJ Hill, he graded out really well for PFF, so I don't know why they tried to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point you bring up. BJ Hill was really good in his rookie year. He had 5.5 sacks. Yeah, that's a fair point you bring up. But I do think Leonard Williams is a really good player. I'm happy he's a Giant. And I'm in complete agreement with you guys. I made the video today, and I love Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson's one of my favorite players on this defense. But if I had to keep one, which I don't think they're going to be able to keep both, because if you realistically look at it, you got to pay Dexter Lawrence too. He plays the same position. You might have to pay BJ Hill. You cannot pay 4 interior defensive linemen a second contract. It just doesn't make sense. I would keep Leo, depending on what the money is going to be. If the money was equal, I would keep Leo. Yeah, and I would let Dalvin walk and get the comp pick. That's what I would do.
Sorry, I was just on the Kevin bringing up a great point. This is a great analogy I heard. I can't remember where I heard it, but stats are like a bikini, man. They look great, but they don't tell the whole story. You know what I'm saying? So, you gotta look into. You watch the player, you see the impact. But just if you go into the stat sheet and just checking a player's stats, and that's how you grade them, that's just the wrong way to go about it. So,
No, you're right. You know what's funny? You know what's funny and ironic is people will bash Leo Williams for not putting up the bikini stats, the sacks. But when it comes to our middle linebacker, since fans like to complain about everything, Blake Martinez, who has the bikini stats, he's led the leagues in tackling the last 3 years. They try to point out that, oh, he can't cover. So they'll look at the other factors that aren't the bikini stats when they're looking to bash somebody, but they won't do that when fans find ways to bash people, whether it's looking at the bikini stats or whether it's not. That's the point. That's the point I'm taking there. But guys, you guys were absolutely fantastic. First off, okay, the donation wasn't a mistake. It was me not including my question. Okay, I'll answer this real quick. What do you think is a reasonable price for Leonard Williams? Is it worth it to overpay? All right, real quick. It's very hard to say. First off, for that question, because we don't know what the salary cap is going to be next year. Because, like Kyle was saying before we went live, if they don't have a season this year, salary cap is probably going to go down. Unless it's a flat rate, but I don't think it'll go up. It probably won't even go up even if we have a season because you're not going to have fans in the stands. So they're not going to generate normal revenue. So I would think a fair price would be the same thing that I think would be a fair price this year. Of course, that's all dependent on how Leonard Williams plays. If Leonard Williams has 15 sacks, well, that changes. But I think 13 and a half over a 4 or 5 year deal is about what his market should be. I think we overpaid by about $3 million, but it was because it was a 1 year contract. You're only making a 1 year commitment. But I would say about $13 million. You guys in about agreement with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
I'd probably let him hit free agency and see what offers he gets there before.
There's just one thing you did say though, Chris. Is that we're paying him nearly 17 mil. I think as much as I do like Leo and as much as he does make a very big impact, if you can keep Tomlinson and BJ Hill for the same amount of money that you'd pay Leo, I'd let him walk and take the comp pick because you're taking a fourth rounder, at least I'd say a fourth rounder for Leo. So if you can keep two, I'd say very, very good above average D lineman plus a comp pick, I'd definitely let him walk in that case.
And also, Chris, you said that you said that the cap will probably go down, maybe stay the same. That'll be the same for like all the other teams. So if he hits the open market, he might not get the offers he wants. So might have to return to us.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because by next year's market, if it was a normal year, he would, even though he's not worth $16 million now, he'd probably be worth $16 million in next year's market.
Yeah,
if it was a normal year, because it was set to accelerate by 15%. But I don't think that's going to happen now. So I think he's worth more like 13.
And would want to sign players like Saquon down and probably want to extend Peppers as well. So I mean, there's a lot of things we'll want to do with not a lot of cap space. So
they have to sign Peppers. They have to sign Peppers because you traded for him, Odell. It's just going to look stupid if you don't.
If that guy's healthy,
they can cut Solder next year.
Will be the best partnership.
They're going to cut Solder next year. That'll create 15 million.
Too.
I wouldn't be opposed to cutting Tate. I agree with that. I wouldn't be. I like Tate, but he's old.
That's Shepard's position. He's better in the slot anyway.
Yeah. One thing also about the Leo Williams thing, because I know we got to get my man Antonis to sleep. But
dude, I'm good.
I was about with Leo, and Dalvin Tomlinson and all these guys. Next year's free agency class in terms of the pass rusher is big. You've got Yannick, even though if he plays on that thing, he's going to be a free agent next year. You've got Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. I know Chris, I see you in the chat. Please don't kill me, but you might not be able to keep both of them, my man.
He's not going. They're not keeping both.
No way. Yeah.
So and there's a lot. So there's a really deep pass rusher free agency class. So you could sign one of those guys, and Clowney probably as well. He's probably going to get like max a 1 year deal. So you've got all these guys that you can sign. Plus, if you let a guy like Leo Williams or something go, you get a comp pick as well. So that's definitely an option as well for Leo trade, I think.
Yeah.
Great point. And I saw somebody in the chat say that they want to be on the panel. You can follow me at I don't know if you have an Instagram. You can follow me at Entertainer, or just comment on my videos when I say I'm going live. Let me know that you want to come on, and reach out to you via email or in the comments, and just watch my video. That means that you got to watch my videos now. Maybe you're a guy that doesn't watch my videos. You just go to my streams. Got to watch my videos if you don't follow me on Instagram. That's my way to suck you in. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, anybody that wants to come on the channel, you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. you can message me there. And yeah, I plan on doing this once a week right now. And I cannot wait till in season. In season is going to be so much fun because everybody's going to be so passionate. You're going to get to talk to fans, and I can't wait. But I'm going to let you guys close it out like I always do with my co-host. We'll let you guys close it out one at a time. But yeah, first off, I just want to say thank you to the chat. I'll be live on Thursday or Friday next with Bad Dog Talking Giants. And then I'll probably have another one of these probably Sunday next week. And then I'll do the normal Q&A the following week. But this week it'll be replaced by Bad Dog and me together. We're going to start with Kyle. We'll let him close it out. But again, thank you to everybody for being here. Kyle, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. You're a great YouTuber. You're a great dude, first and foremost. You're really humble. I like the way you go about your things. You're polite. You always try to see both sides, and I appreciate that because, some of the YouTubers don't. They want to see their side, and they kind of become a pain in the ass a little bit to listen to at times. So, I really appreciate you, man. I love your channel. I'll always watch it, and thank you for having me on, and I hope I can come on again.
Definitely, man. Everybody did a great job. But yeah, definitely, Kyle, man. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. Nerd Out Sports, go ahead, buddy.
Pretty much echoing what Kyle said, man. Thank you so much for having me on here. Everyone on here was great to talk to. Love the Giants. I love your channel. And because of you, I was able to find so many other great content creators on here. So thank you so much again. And can't wait to see your next video. And I'll be in for the next stream for sure. And like Kyle said, I want to try to get on here again during the season, assuming we have one. But go Giants.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely have all you guys back on, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Antonis, man, it is 4:30 a.m. I'm sure you got the call.
Get him some sleep.
But go ahead, Antonis. Close it out, my man.
Man, thank you so much for having me. I really, really do appreciate it. I probably said this 100,000 times to you, like texting you like a freak. But you really are up there with some of the best YouTubers out there. You really do keep a close connection with your fans, and it really does mean a lot to us as well. Yeah, you're just a super special guy. Thank you so much. If you don't have me on, we're gonna have problems again. Yeah, so sort yourself out.
Next time I have Antonis on, we'll be live at noon. I'm gonna have a UK special. Maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll have Antonis on. Maybe like.
And if we do get the restart and there is games in the UK, come over and I'll sort you out. I'll show you around.
Sounds like a plan, man. Antonis, you did a great job thank Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, Harrison, go ahead, buddy.
Oh man, but yeah, first of all, just big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you all for watching, and everyone go Sports Expert streaming KBO, so everyone go watch that. But Entertainer, man, straight up, literally one of the genuine of all YouTube, straight up, not just Giants, all YouTube, one of the nicest people on YouTube. Has one of the biggest communities. He lets everyone interact with him. It doesn't matter who you are. He hearts every single comment. He'll reply. And Instagram, you can DM. It's just incredible, man. So I hope I'll let you know when your shirt's on the way. I've ordered it. Yeah, and also Kyle, Nerding Out Sports, and Antonis and Kevin, man, it was awesome doing it with you all. And I hope maybe one day I'll get to come back on the channel in season. Like Antonis said, Tainer, we don't have problems. Down here in New Zealand, we rugby folk. We hard as nails. So, we don't,
just keep the cap on.
You'll definitely.
Next time I come on, I won't have a cat. I'll have my normal hair. But yeah, man, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, that you have to promise me. Next time you come on, we get to see your real hair.
Yeah, for sure, man. I don't know why I picked the cat today, man.
No, it's okay. I'm just messing with you.
Thank you so much, man.
No, you couldn't be. Thank you, man. You're one of my best subscribers. You're always active on my channel. Kevin, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, thank you, Chris. I really respect your work ethic. Like, just straight up one of the hardest workers I've seen on YouTube. Really respect your opinions. Sometimes we disagree when I watch your videos, but I mean, you always make compelling cases for what you believe in. So I can't thank you enough.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for being a great subscriber. And but to just get to your point that you don't always agree, I always say this to people who come on my channel and say, I don't agree with you a lot. And I say that's a good thing in a way, because if I was a consumer of a channel, I would actually, like you said, as long as he backed it up and put in the research, I feel like I learned something when I don't always agree with the guy, because he shows me a different perspective. So that's what I always say to people. I'm like, well, you're not always going to agree with me. It's sports. It's opinions. You're not always going to agree with me. But as long as you respect my opinion, I always respect yours. But thank you to everybody for coming on. You guys did a great job tonight. You guys were fantastic, each and every one of you guys. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are the best subscribers on YouTube. I say it all the time. Looking forward to seeing you guys Thursday probably, or Friday for Talking Giants. Yeah, we'll be doing this again probably Sunday. So you guys, again, thank you guys, and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you too, man.
Peace out.
Thank you,
Take care, guys.
Good night, guys.
All right.